Okay, boys, we're rock and rolling. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, let's
Cheers.
start her off on right here. Smoke them if you got them.
Smoke if you got 'em. Woohoo! Sorry I was late. Yeah, I had a lot of. I got off work at 5, so 3 hours ago, and I actually just finished working for real. So, had to go.
Well, I'm happy you were running late because I was running late as well. So it
Yeah.
worked out perfect.
Awesome, good.
Well, buddy, okay, so I've been thinking about this whole Christmas tree operation that you're on, and I can't help but wonder, what unit were you guys hauling a Christmas tree around with?
Oh, my car. I mean, like my wife's car is her prized possession.
Okay.
So the Tesla takes the beating for everything. Yeah, we just threw it on top of the car and strapped it down and drove it home.
Does it got a couple of the plastic like ski rack jobbies on it?
No, not even. No, you just
Nice.
there's a place right by the house that we go to. There's these guys pull up in like a little RV every year and just unload their trees, but they're nice trees, right? And it's right down the street, so it's about maybe not even a half a mile away, so we're not driving too far. We just strap it to the roof, put the twine inside the car through the doors. So
nice. So did you guys know, here's a little nerdy info on Christmas trees. Like, to get those trees as impeccable as they are, if you're buying like, a relatively high dollared real tree at, say, one of those outfits, like there's businesses out there that work Christmas trees all year long, like trimming and finagling and making them that beautiful pyramid Christmas tree. And they go as far as to paint them as well, believe it or not.
really,
Yep. I mean, if they need it, right?
yeah.
Like, I'm no expert on this, but I used to know guys that worked at a Christmas tree farm, and I was always like, "What do you guys do in the summer?" He's like, "We're working the fields, like we're trimming, we're doing whatever, keeping the shit away from the bottom so the branches all grow nice, and then they take them to the big city and sell them to the city folk, right?"
Not surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always tell when somebody like went out and bucked their own unit down because it looks like a fucking Charlie Brown Christmas tree, right? Like, things got Down syndrome, the branches are all over the place.
That's what a real tree looks like, right?
Yeah, not these fancy
When they're
fucking.
perfect, yeah, they've been manipulated, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandfather did Christmas trees for a number of years, if I remember right. And something about, I think it was like 4 years. So it was like you cut down every fourth row or something like that. He had it staggered out and all systematic. And the funny thing is we never used any of those trees for Christmas. We always went out. I remember this one year because this is like in Northern Ontario. So my uncle, who's 10 years older than me, so whatever, when I actually would have given a shit about a Christmas, I would have been 8. So he was, late teenager. And I remember going out trampling with snowshoes and trying to find a really tall tree because you can cut the tops off. And I forget like what the height is, where if you cut the top off, it won't have a significant impact on, the tree will survive it. So find like this big, beautiful tree, like some shit you'd see in National Lampoons, right? So he's climbing up with the axe and is chopping away at this thing. Well, the fucker slips and falls. And he just like, he literally does like just spreads himself out so that he lands like right in like, I swear to God, it was probably 2 or 3 feet of fluffy snow. So it was just poof. And you literally saw this outline of his body with the friggin' axe in the snow. It was like the greatest thing ever.
Like the cartoons.
Yeah.
Well, so many questions. Like, where was the chainsaw? What? Like, he's old school, taking the axe to the top.
Well, this is what, if I was 8 or 1990, what is that, 89? Yeah. So grandpa has old tools that I'm sure there was a chainsaw, but it was nostalgia. So when you go out and you're shooting for rabbits to make rabbit stew and all that shit, and actually he used to do up snares. I remember he was like, he'd always go out every day, check his snares, see if he caught a rabbit.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, that's well, I mean, maybe that was his saving grace that he didn't have a chainsaw in his hand and that fell on him while it was wide open.
Well, I think too, like at 18, not to say that he wouldn't be qualified to operate a chainsaw, but yeah, it would be, it's a little sketchy. And funny enough, because my mom owned a forestry business, and my biological dad were both foresters. So yeah, there's been a lot of tree stuff in our family for
Yeah.
many years, despite the car
Right.
and everything else, or cars, I should say. My mom always, because my mom was sort of like Tom here, bought a brand new Honda Insight in 2000 when they first came out. So I used to teach ecosystem management. So I think one of the PowerPoint slides, she'd show like a picture of my Foxbody at, whatever, 15 miles a gallon, and then puts a picture of, well, I drive this and I get 70 miles per gallon. I'm saving the environment and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So, okay, and one more thing about the tree, buddy. What type of tree are we talking? Like a short needle pine, or like do you get into the long needle fancier ones that seem to be going around?
Spruce.
It's a Fraser, so I don't know much about the trees, but it's pretty much the same one that we buy every year. We just always go and you look at like 100 trees, and eventually one just kind of it just like
Speaks to you.
talks to you. You're like, that's it. It's it. Some of them, like, I don't know. They're you're gonna throw the thing away eventually, right? So me, I'm always looking at the price of these damn things, but I will say I do like a real tree. So I don't care as long as it's a nice tree and as long as my wife's happy. I don't care about that. But I don't want a tree that looks like it's got bedhead. So
Right.
so the Frasers usually have like a little thicker needles. They're not like the super fine needles. And they're usually like a darker green, I think, color. Right. And it just smells great. Like immediately, like we just put the tree down and we're letting it kind of acclimate, and you can already smell it. So it smells like Christmas already.
Nice.
So
yeah.
What's
you
the
can't
going
get that
rate
out of a
for
fake tree.
Oh,
what's that?
You can't get that out of a fake tree.
Oh no. Yeah.
What's the going rate for a tree your way?
So, I'm kind of tightening the belt because of the Cookie Monster build here. So I noticed that like Home Depot, they have trees for like $60 or $80. But no, it was like $120. And I always tip the guys. They're young kids that, they roll up like the week before Thanksgiving and they sit there in like an RV until like the week, a couple days before Christmas. So,
right.
I feel bad for these guys. So I always tip them. But yeah, the tree was like $120 and I give them like a $40 tip or something like that, just to, I don't know,
say thanks.
Just to say thanks. And like, I appreciate, like, I tell people all the time, and probably you guys can attest to this. Like, I always tell people, like, I appreciate you no matter what the conversation is, but I just think that goes a long way to, just kind of make somebody feel better, or brighten somebody's day or something like that. So I do it at work. I do it when I'm out and about, email, text, whatever. So,
yeah,
but
that's a good little motto to have in there, right? Especially in the world that we all complain about way too often, right? If you can just factor a little kind of 2 or 3 word deal into your daily rituals, right? When you're conversing with people, or I don't know. I mean, this one's a little bit further out there, but like, if you're, say, admiring something of another person, right? I know this goes a little like better for girl to girl, but like, if you're, I tell my kids this all the time, like, if you're going to stare at that lady's coat or something, like, go tell her that you love her coat.
right.
She probably just spent $300 on it yesterday and she's got all kinds of buyer's remorse and her better half's pissed because she bought it. Like, go up and tell her she looks great and, you love her coat and you'll probably make her month,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised, like, and work is another good example of, just something silly like, Happy Friday. Like I do that all the time. And, it's surprising at how it changes, immediately changes someone's like kind of personality. Sometimes you pick up the phone and you get somebody's like, hello. And it's like, hey, how you doing? Happy Friday. This is Tom. And they're like, hey, Tom, it's like immediately, like it just kind of brightens their mood. Right. So, it's just something I like to do. I like to treat people with respect and, the same way I want to be treated. But
there you go. Yeah, I like that, buddy. Another neat little thing to this is, if somebody asks you how you're doing, like the automatic quick go-to is just good, right? Like, oh, I'm good, whatever. But if you like, I don't know, get a little heady about it and you think to yourself, like, man, I should like answer that with more intent, and obviously you don't want to sit there and be like, you know what, today's really shitty. Like, but, like if you say you're good, then like live that.
Yeah.
Like embrace the fact that things are good,
I am that guy that unfortunately, when the bagger at the grocery store asks me how I'm doing and I say I'm good, how are you? And then they start to tell me how they're doing. Like I will sit there and fucking listen, like, oh, and the whole time in my head I'm like, why did I do this? And I'll sit there and listen to their 20 minutes telling me how they're really doing. That's the go. Nice. That's a nice guy.
That's when you do the go-to. Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Gotta go. Yeah. Okay, buddy. Well, enough about all that sappy bullshit. Let's get into some fun stuff.
Okay.
Give us an update on the Cookie Monster. Because I was thinking about this as we talk about the trees and Christmas and whatever. I think you probably got all the Christmas gifts you're going to get for this year. Or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I got a few text messages today from family, like asking, like, gift ideas or whatever. So I was just talking to my wife and I'm like, you know what? I don't want anything. Like, I seriously don't want anything. I don't need anything. We already talked, the Cookie Monster build is something that I've been planning for a long time and saving for a long time. Because Chris is kind of like Chuck, I'm next Friday, a week from today, is my 5.0 birthday. I know,
hey.
I know. I don't look like it. I know. But yeah, I mean, I wanted one, and actually, Chris, like that kind of, I don't want to say like inspired me because I knew I was going to do the build, but when I heard about that cool kind of like, his, 50, 50 birthday or whatever, it just kind of made me think like, you know what, like I want to do it now and I want to have this car done and it'll be my big birthday, present, whatever. So, anyway, so I've been daily getting updates from Nick over at Streetcar Shenanigans, the guy, the guys, him and Dan and the crew over there building the car. And just got off a FaceTime call with them. They just finished the exhaust. So the exhaust is completely done. And, it looks like tomorrow we're going to try and, fire this thing up.
Ooh, little fire in the hole.
Yep, fire in the hole. So, there's a few things left to do, but I think what I've noticed is like in the past, like, week or two, is I think as we get closer to the finish line, they're just getting super motivated because like this entire week was dedicated to my car. And another thing I noticed is how proud Nick is with the work on the exhaust because as time goes on, like obviously they're getting better at what they do, and he's just really happy with the results from the exhaust. Because welding is it's not something that everybody can do or do well, and so he's very proud of it. I'm proud, obviously, to have my car there. I know that I picked the right shop. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Sounds like tomorrow might be the day. I don't know if they fire it up. I don't know if we're going to have the supercharger hooked up because there's, being the guys that they are, like they're not really happy with some of the drive accessories, you know, for the supercharger. I think maybe the tensioner or something like that. So if they can get that figured out by tomorrow, then we'll probably hook it up. Otherwise, it might just be motor only. But I just want to hear the thing run. You know, it's been a long time coming, you know.
Totally. Buddy, what transmission did you go with again?
It's a T56 Magnum.
Oh. And that wasn't in there before, was it?
No. So I had originally when I bought the car, it was an automatic.
Right.
And then I did a T5 swap, and it was just a Tremec, you know, Tremec T5. So it's the
world
Z-spec,
class or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's all it was. But I mean, that trans actually like did really well. I never had an issue with that trans. That trans with a McLeod clutch, you know, like a whatever their whatever the stage 1 or entry level clutch for McLeod. But I mean, that was a perfect combination. I never had an issue with that, even with, you know, 500 horsepower.
Yeah.
So.
Have you started parting any of that stuff out? Like, what are you doing with all the parts that?
So the trans,
the motor went.
Yeah, the motor. I sold the motor, which I may or may not buy back. I kind of have seller's remorse on that one. So I sold the motor to my buddy Dwayne Chicano Fox. And the deal was that you know, well, not the deal, but I sold it to him because his son was like really getting into the Foxbody thing, and he was telling me how he wanted to get like a set of heads, and he bought like an intake and stuff. And when it came down to it, I'm like, listen, I have like this motor, it's built, like it's ready to go. It's already sealed. Like you don't have to do anything to it. You just drop it in. And so we made a deal, and I think it was extremely fair. You know, because you can't even buy the heads cam intake for what I sold the whole thing for, right? But to me, it was worth it because of who it is, you know, who it's going to. And if I can help, you know, inspire, you know, the younger generation, and then I can also see, you know, the results of that, like that to me was worth it, right? But I don't know if that's actually going to, you know, if that's ever going to happen, you know. I don't know if that motor's ever going to go in that car or not. I don't know. So if that doesn't happen, I may try to get that motor back and put it in the notchback.
Yep.
The fixer upper. But so the motor's gone. I just sold the supercharger, the Vortec that I had. The trans though I have.
Yeah, I'm sure you were going to sell that.
Well, I knew it wasn't going on the notchback. So when I had a friend reach out and ask me about it, and I'm like, you know what, it's not for sale, but you know, for you, I'll sell it. You know, I'll sell it to you, but it's not really for sale. And you know, the more I thought about it, it's like, this is a couple $1,000 like just sitting in my garage, and I know it's not going on the notchback. Like I don't want to go that route with that car. So once I made the decision, it was ready. I was fine. It was no big deal to let that thing go. I had my fun with it, and I got what I wanted for it. So I let it go. I kept the transmission. That's sitting in a crate. You know, I got at work, I have a crate that I just throw a bunch of parts into. So I got the trans, I have the, you know, bell housing, the clutch, and a bunch of other parts. I have like all the original heads, the original intake, you know, intact, all that stuff, you know, the stock stuff. But yeah, I started selling a bunch of that stuff, you know, just letting it go.
Yeah.
I gotta recoup some of my money here because this build is not cheap, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of the angle I was coming at it from, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Chris knows, and you know, Gary, like, I don't think people really understand the expense that, you know, especially if you're not doing the work yourself, you know, how much something like this can cost. And, you know, I knew going into it, but I think that I try not to talk about it with some people because I don't think that they are really understanding the type of money that you're talking when you want to build something from, unfortunately I have like a great base, car to start with. I'm not trying to source a car and have to do body work and paint and all that stuff. But I pretty much got rid of everything in the car and it's all brand new. Everything is brand new in that car. So
yeah, it is one of those things that I think we've tried to like make sense of it for anyone that's interested in, trying to understand it from this perspective. But to your point, yeah, like it's the perspective that you look at it from. And if you're talking to somebody that, is a real good jack of all trades, and by real good, I mean like they're kind of okay at a lot of things, they will fucking lights right when I talk to, right? Fuck
right.
Yeah, they will approach it from the perspective of like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like you could be using wire from, the Toyota Corolla that grandma scrapped a few years ago. You could be using like it's the perspective, right? And to your point, dude, I mean, yeah, all of these parts had literally price tags on them from the manufacturer, right? So right away, we're talking all brand new gear. And then you're talking, professionals' time or professionals' time to put all this together. And I mean, I know you've been like putting little drip posts out there, the exhaust and stuff. And I mean, every time I see one, right, and you look at every one of those welds, and for anyone that's ever tried to TIG weld, or even if you do know what you're doing with TIG welding, it's a time-consuming process that not only that, like the welding itself is time-consuming, but all the cuts, all the bends, ask Todd, right? He just taught himself how to TIG weld and build his own exhaust. And I mean, I think that guy took a hiatus from the family for 2 months to do that, like, so anyway, yeah. And you get what you pay for too, right? Or at least you hope. Yeah. Well, I don't want to say you hope to. I know you're getting what you're paying for, but there are a lot of people out there that have paid top dollar for like bottom dollar work, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of stories floating around out there like that. But yeah, perspective's everything in this, right? And you're working with a good crew, right? They're giving you the updates, the FaceTimes, the photos, the whatever. Like you're pretty much there with them the whole time they're building your car,
Yeah.
So that helps.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Yeah. And, to be honest, like, labor is probably the least expensive thing so far. It's what I like about, the process that we have is that, we're like, everything is paid for already, right? Up to this point. So like, I'm not getting a big bill at the end. It's like, okay, well, we did this much work, or I'll order parts, or they'll order the parts, and then I'll get the invoice, and I'm not getting upcharged for anything. Everything is very transparent. But this shit costs a lot of money. What just one invoice was the T56 with the bell housing and a supercharger head unit and like a Dominator ECU. I mean, you start adding that up, and that's a lot of money right there.
It's a big bill.
Yeah, but again, like this is what I wanted, and this is I wanted everything built the way that I had planned, and so it is what it is. But yeah, I'm really happy now. It seems like once the build got started, it's just been kind of like a snowball effect. Like it just started slow, and then it got progressed a little bit, and then it just got faster and faster. And now it's like, I think that they see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they're just super motivated. Because the other day when I asked, like, realistically, what do you think about firing this thing up? Because I'm like, it'd be great if I could do it on my birthday. And we're like, right. Yeah, we're trying. And then it was like, okay, well, maybe it might be Tuesday or Wednesday next week. And then I get a text today, and it's like tomorrow. It's like these guys are working late, they're doing whatever they can, and they're like excited to get this thing fired up too. So we're hoping tomorrow. I'm really hoping.
Nice.
Right. Hey,
So,
buddy, and give us a high level on it again, real quick. So 363.
yep. So yeah, it's a Dart SHP block, stroke 363, AFR 205 Renegade heads.
Yeah.
And then it's got Ed Curtis custom cam. I don't know anything about the specs, but I do know that Nick knew that I kind of wanted the drivability. So he says it's still gonna chop pretty good, but it's gonna give me better drivability than if it was just a crazy choppy cam.
Yep.
Then I know I don't know as far as like the crank or the rods or anything like that. I do know it got diamond pistons in there, so it's like everything is like top notch, quality parts. And then I went with an AFI supercharger, American Force Induction, and the founder of AFI is the co-founder of ProCharger. And he is the guy that, the engineer, I guess, that held all of the patents and stuff like that way back when ProCharger first got started. So this head unit that I have is essentially a ProCharger. They dyno every single one of them. And I know mine after the dyno, I don't think anything was wrong with it, but I do know that they delayed my delivery because after they dyno tested it, they pulled it back apart and they said something about, just something with the gears or something. And I don't know if they were tightening some tolerances or something like that, because there is some adjustability on that head unit.
Right.
So it's a really top-notch supercharger.
That's super cool to know. Hey, sorry to interrupt you, buddy, but like to think that, I mean, some people might hear that and go like, oh shit, I got a dud. But to me, what I hear is like this unit, like this VIN number has had your name attached to it since the casing was milled out,
Right.
And now it's come to dyno time and it's like, no, we're going to tear it down and whatever. Like, whereas the other side of it is these things are a dime a dozen. Fuck this one, grab another one off the shelf, put it on the dyno. You know what I mean? Like, this is like a boutique level, whatever unit,
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing about AFI is that they don't sell like supercharger kits. So they just sell the head unit, and they're meant to just like go in place of your current head unit, whether it's a Paxton or a Vortec or something like that. So they reuse your bracketry, all the pulleys and all that stuff. They just literally replace your head unit. Because they say that that's what they do best, right? But I guess the same. So I had a 3.12 pulley on my Vortec, and I was getting about, I think it was somewhere around 11, 12 pounds of boost. With the same pulley, I'm supposed to get somewhere between 19 and 20 with this new head unit. So just with same pulley. So yeah, I mean, I think that the estimate is somewhere on E85. It's going to be somewhere north of 900, somewhere around there.
Good gracious.
And then it's going to have like a flex tune on it. So, I can drive with, not everybody has the 85. We're fortunate in Illinois. We have quite a few spots around here where you can get E85. So it's not too much of an issue, but if you're traveling, sometimes that's a problem. So having the flex tune on there, you can just put 93 in it and it'll figure it out.
Right. Did you put a new fuel tank in there, Tom?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's a Cobra style tank. I think it's called like Year One or something like that. But it is a new tank.
Okay.
And then it's got a 4 hat on it with twin 400 pumps. So it's only 2 pumps, not 3.
Okay.
But I think that's like the Hellcat style setup.
Right. Yeah, because this was something I remember, and before I even said anything about it, I kind of announced like, hey, listen, I'm going to lay on the sword here because this is something that I've never fucked with and I've always been curious. But like when you go with some sort of like a dual fuel tune like this, like, do we got a like a drain plug on the fuel tank? You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're gonna, or are you running this thing right down to fumes and then you're just filling it up with the next fuel? Or like, how does this program work?
So the way I understand it is, because I got the Dominator, and I don't know if like the Terminator does this or not, but the Dominator is like it's like the top level Holley ECU. So it's got a lot of capability, and it's got a sensor. So we've got a flex sensor in there, and apparently this is how I understand it. If that sensor, if it sniffs, the high ethanol content, it knows that it's good to go, and it's gonna give me every bit of timing and fuel that I need to spin up that supercharger.
Yeah.
If it starts seeing that the ethanol content is falling below whatever, I don't know, whatever the safe level is, it's going to know that, okay, well, it's mixed fuel, or it's 93 or something like that. And what they're going to do is they're just going to pull timing. It's probably a little bit more involved than that, but when they start yanking the timing, I'm never going to get the RPM to get my boost high enough to, hurt the motor. So the way it was explained to me is like, okay, if you're running 93, you're pretty much going to be short shifting. You're not going to get 7,000 RPMs out of this motor. You're going to be shifting at like 6,000 or something like that. So that's how I understand it, is that this flex sensor, it's always sniffing for ethanol content. And if it doesn't see that it's high enough, it's going to start yanking timing so that I can't, hurt the motor.
And this is all done on the fly too. You don't got to go,
fly.
oh shit. Yeah. Right.
Yep, it's all done on the fly. Yeah.
Huh. Wild. And then, cause I mean, what is and I mean, maybe we don't even know the answer to this, but the questions that come to mind for me is like, you got a quarter tank at E85 and you're like, you know what? We're going to be driving this thing down the road, or maybe we're going to drive it over to Motor City. Let's go throw some 93 in it. Like, is that kosher? Like, are we just throwing fuel on top of fuel?
Yes, it is actually. It's okay. So yeah, again, like I ask the same questions that you are, because I'm like, do I got to run the tank down? If I'm traveling and I got like 3/4 of a tank of E85, but yeah, the way it's, and I actually I know a few people who have these flex tunes, and I asked the same question to the last guy that I was talking to at a show, and he ended up sending me a picture later, because he told me he just was going to go fill up with 93, but he still had 85 in it. And he showed me that, he's got in the Holley, like it can read, the ethanol content level. And, he notices nothing different other than, if you start ripping on the car, you're going to notice the power difference, the power loss, but the car doesn't react any differently. You don't have to change any settings or do anything. It's all just handled through that sensor, and then the computer starts figuring it out.
Wild.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting on the E85 front too is like it's very inconsistent out of the pump as well. So what happens is a lot of guys, like if your tune is dialed to make sure that you're X amount of ethanol, kind of as Tom was saying, so you'll test it to validate that you have that threshold before you're filling your tank and going racing. So the idea here with the flex sensor is that it's actually going to be doing that reading for you and adjust. Now, the problem is if it doesn't see it, then you're not going to be optimizing your max amount of power that you could be getting out of your tune, but at least it's going to be safe about it. So that's like the thing. You can't have like this crazy narrowed out parameter, I'm 99.9% efficient with my horsepower with this tune, and just fill up randomly with an E85 pump and hope. Like, you can't just do that like you can with 93. Like 93, you're getting 93 or whatever it is based on those specific parameters. But E85 actually doesn't behave that way. That's why now there's like tunes for blends like E60 or like all these other things. So it's like this weird chemistry science experiment.
Yeah. I think as time has gone on, Chris, to your point, years ago when there wasn't so much flexibility, I think that that's exactly how it was. I would see people posting pictures of like, oh, I found like liquid gold,
The good stuff.
the good stuff. It's right there, But you're 100% right that from gas station to gas station, and even if you find like a good gas station from one time that they fill the tank to the next, it could be completely different. So now with these new flex tunes, it gives you a little bit more flexibility. Like you don't have to test. The car is going to figure it out. Of course, if you want to go racing, you want to make sure that you've got, quality fuel. But, for ripping around on the street and stuff like that, I don't think, even if I just put 93 in this car, I mean, it's still going to be a high
Proper monster.
600, 700 horsepower car. It's not going to, but yeah, I wanted that capability exactly, in case, we're traveling or whatever, like, in case it's just not available, the E85. So,
well, thing too, right? Like you're depending on, like if it's built that way, and what I'm talking about, the optimizing the fuel is, I had a BMW S1000 RR that was turbocharged, and it was running 14-to-1 compression.
oof.
And it was on E85 for obvious reasons, because you're running boost through that motor, and you're trying to keep things cool.
Yeah.
So that's the other big thing, right? Like E85 is got that attraction factor of just being able to keep things like that twin turbo Coyote notch that I put together, running underneath a stock hood, not having the bumper cut out with the intercooler, like blocking airflow and everything else. Like, yes, managed to somewhat control the cooling with that Super Duty brushless Spall fan, but you run E85 in it, and it's like none of that was required because the motor
Right.
just that much
Keeps
cooler.
it nice and cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always been a big question of mine. And or just the horse around of it all. Like it's just one more thing to horse around with, right? It's almost like, I don't know. Well, what came to mind when I was saying all that was this little guy in the VW that this summer I ended up pulling up to a light with, and both of us do our thing. And anyway, at the next light, he's going like, man, had I known, right, I wouldn't have been on this bass tune. And like, it was all the standard issue excuses, right?
Excuses. Yeah.
Yeah. And now to your point, Tom, I know the caveat here is this thing on 93 is going to rip your fucking face off and then some. Never mind E85. But at the same time, right, if you're into that type of thing and you measure your wiener based off of, your race outcomes, do you find yourself in that situation where you're like, shit, right? Here's that guy from high school that I fucking hated, and he pulls up in this snotty Camaro, and I got 93 in the tank. Right?
Well, send it, man. Send it. Go out with style, man.
Somebody's got to invent like an old F-150 like dual fuel tank fucking flip switch, right?
There you go.
85.
To the good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry, man. I side railed us there, but
Good.
D56.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I made the wrong decision or not. I'm gonna find out, but I actually went with an RST clutch. So McLeod actually
like cable, like you're going with a cable throw-up bearing or hydraulic?
No, it's cable. But
Okay.
But the thing is, like the RST is more of a street clutch than the RXT. And Nick called me one night and he's like, I just got off the phone with the guys at McLeod and they don't recommend this clutch for your setup. And I was like, well, you know what? Like this car is going to be like 90% street. And yes, I do want to take it to the strip and I do want to, have some fun with it and whatever. But I'm like, it's going to be 90% probably street. So let's just stick with the RST. And I'm like, the worst case scenario, like the weak link is going to be the clutch. It's not going to be the trans. It's not going to be anything else in driveline, right? So if the clutch doesn't work out, what is $1,000, you know, right? Or something like that. At this point, what is $1,000 anymore, right?
Yeah.
So I stuck.
It's a good weak link,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I stuck with the RST. I think it's going to be fine. It's still a very powerful clutch, and but we'll see how it holds up. So so the T56, and I went with the RST clutch. I don't want to go hydraulic. Just I don't think I need to, and I know a few guys already who've had issues with that setup, and I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah. What tire? Like, are you doing anything crazy, like mini tubs or anything like that?
No, and I'm glad you asked, because the world has seen my wheels, and I don't know if you have yet. And I wanted to text you so bad, because you know, like, of all people's opinion that I value, I know that you hate the chrome ponies, but I gotta know, have you seen my wheels yet?
I haven't.
You have not. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this up for you, because so to let me find them here.
We should find a way to put this damn thing on the screen here.
Yeah. So
here, text it to me, Tom, and then I can put it up on the screen.
Okay, hang on one second.
Actually, I'm sure I got it in our text thread too, bud.
I got
Well,
you.
while
Right.
we're saying that, or while you're looking for it, I guess the key factor. Oh, would you look at that?
So what I did was I bought a set of chrome ponies, and I sent them out to MacFab, and I had them bead locked. So these are 17. These are 17 by 10, and let me show you what they look like on the car. Let's see here.
Why can't they make that big?
Oh, there we go.
Right. What size tire you got under there?
What is that? It's so 17 by 10. Actually, they're 17 by 10 and a half now. Shit, I have to look and see what they are, but I know that they're the Mickey Thompson ET Street R's.
Okay.
But I gotta look and see the size. I know that because they look pretty beefy. But they fit really well, actually. If you
I
can
was gonna
see
say
that without the glare. So what I did with the rear end, actually, so it's still the 8.8 rear end, but it's got 9-inch ends welded on there. And then I went with 33 spline Moser axles and Eaton True Track differential. And then I did keep the 373 rear end, which Nick has told me that I'll probably drive around and want to change it. But he thinks I want to go like, like a smaller, higher numerical but smaller gear, because of the 6-speed. I'll still get the good highway gear. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, that and all that power too, bud. Right? Like,
yeah.
That thing's gonna eat through 4 gears.
Well, that was going to be my point when we were talking about the weakest link. That's why I was sort of asking about the tires, because T56, I've seen like 4th gear is sort of kind of weak link in them. Like I've seen like the synchros kind of, and like they'll pop out of gear and just kind of do some odd behavior shit. That's why a lot of people end up with the TKX or whatever it is, but then you don't have the 6th. So I would just be conscious of that, is depending on where your gear range sits, like, are you trying to power shift into 4th or not? Versus, you're just top end to 3rd. And depending what type of racing you're doing too, shit, you might be in Texas, people don't start racing until 60 mile an hour. So,
sure.
all the toll road shit. So it's all the 60 to 100 stuff, which, then
yeah, I'm thinking more 8th mile, because, I'm not putting a cage in the car, and, I'm an amateur, I'll admit it. I don't feel comfortable winding this thing out in a quarter mile. This is definitely going to be, 9-ish, second car. And, I think, 8th mile will be fine for me. And if, the bug really gets me, then, I really don't want to put a cage in the car. That's kind of where I'm going with that. So I think 8th mile is probably going to be what I'm going to do, and, mess around the street, but I'm not going to go like Chris, like how you're saying, I'm going to go out and, do a 60 roll or something like that, to 130 or whatever on the highway. There's just too many, when I'm driving driving to work, like, and this is how my brain thinks sometimes. And like, it's kind of like a bump in the highway or something. I'm doing 70. I'm like, well, shit, imagine if I was in my Mustang, like just my foot, on the floor, and I'm doing 120 miles an hour and I hit that bump, like what could happen? So, as much fun as it is, I'm more of a stoplight to stoplight kind of, race than I am like getting out on the highway. I have friends that do that shit. Like they do the highway races and stuff like that. And, more power to them, but that's not really for me.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Especially in those Fox bodies, when you hit those dips and everything else, like, my neighbor, the shop next to me, he's got a fully built CTSV, and he does a lot of the toll stuff. And, the stories he tells me, and I'm like, man, like, it's just like if anything goes wrong at that point,
like,
good luck. Just close your eyes and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Oh, you're turning yourself into peanut butter at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's your family that's got to clean up the mess.
Right.
But yeah, like I think the quickest, or like the last time that I went really quick in a Foxbody, I was maybe 20. You know what I mean? Like it was that long ago. And we're talking like the whatever, let's bury the needle kind of stuff.
Right.
And like I still remember what it was like. It's not enjoyable. It's not like doing it in a brand new Mustang at all, right?
Right.
Like you feel like, remember that old movie Spaceballs when they fucking go plaid? That's what it feels like. And everything, if you got a shake at like 75, 80 mile an hour, trust me, that shake is 3,000 times worse at 130 mile an hour.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm with you, bud. I mean, my ass puckers if I got to stand on a chair and change a fucking light bulb these days. You know what I mean? Like my balls hang lower as I get older, but they've gotten smaller. That's for sure. And I don't know how those guys do it, but I'm with you, right? Like that fun little from dead stop to whatever.
Yeah.
All day. Let's do it. Right.
Yeah. Cause that's what we did when we were younger. Like, everybody pulls up to a stoplight and it's like, you give the guy a look and give a little rev, or sometimes you just don't look and you just know like it's going down. Right. So, and look, there's I don't know from state to state what the consequences are, but there's some big shit that can happen. They'll take your car, they'll tow your car, and not politely tow it. And for reckless driving, like in Illinois, you'll get arrested, and they'll take your car. And I've heard horror stories about what happens to some of these cars too when they go, and there's no responsibility whatsoever. So it sucks getting old, man, because you think about the consequences of shit. Yeah. When you're 20 years old, you don't care, right? No. I did over 150 miles an hour on a motorcycle with no helmet, like, and I swear every day I wonder, like, did I really die? And this is all just like, like a flash forward of my life before I fucking, the lights go out.
Totally.
So
yeah, yeah, things have changed a lot. Yeah, that's the thing. Like like you say, depending on what state or province or whatever you're in, I mean, this stuff is like criminal level, like one step under murder. You know what I mean? Like you get the book thrown at you, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's spooky. And I know that, actually, funny little story about this. I know that there is differences between like what the police are capable of tagging you with in Canada versus what the police are capable of tagging you with in the States. And how I found this out was I was familiar with the Canadian system in that if you got pulled over for speeding, it was your right as the speeder to request, like, you need to show me how fast I was going. I want proof of these things. And anyway, I got pulled over in Washington State for speeding and a bunch of other stuff too. The guy was a real wingnut and throwing the book at me, but speeding was one of them. And I said, hey, I don't think I was speeding. Oh, what makes you think you weren't speeding, right? It was this kind of back and forth. I was cordial and everything, but gave me all these tickets, and I took them to court to fight them. And all the other stuff he threw out except the speeding, the judge. And I explained to him where I was coming from the Canadian, like what I was used to. And he goes, son, those fellas put their right hand on a Bible and swear an oath to serve the public and uphold the law. And he says, if that guy hears you 3 blocks over and his ear tells him that he thinks you're speeding, you're fucking speeding. Pay the lady on your way out of here. Beat it. Yeah. So, and I don't know if that's like US wide, but yeah. I mean, it was just this, I don't know, level that they were held to that, they're not there to piss around.
You're not going to win in the States, probably anywhere. If a cop pulls you over speeding, depending on the size of the ticket, it's just not worth your time to try and fight it. You're better off just paying it and sucking it up. Now, if it's a reckless ticket, then that's something where you get an attorney and you just, you're going to pay, but you'll get off with some consequences. But yeah, trying to go and defend yourself in court and just like, hey, I didn't know, it's just never going to work. And if you ask a cop in Illinois, like, hey, show me the radar, like, you're probably going to get beat down, even worse. It's just not worth it. It is not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Well, in case anybody was wondering, the other side of the other tickets that I got, it was kind of funny, especially being Canadian. And this gets into some of the different measuring systems that we use in Canada versus the United States. So this guy was giving me shit saying that I needed mud flaps. I was in my pickup I had at the time, needed mud flaps. My truck was too high. It was all this stuff. And he showed me the sheet of paper he was basing this all off of, saying like, for, this weight of vehicle, you need this kind of mud flap and it can only be this high and all this stuff. Well, anyway, when he was looking at my insurance papers, everything's in kilograms, not in pounds.
Oh
but his
God.
sheet's all in pounds.
Does it explode?
So yeah, the judge saw where I was coming from on all that stuff and threw those out. But yeah, he wasn't letting the speeding go.
Yeah.
And actually, the other side of this was I had a radar detector at the time too, and it never went off. And I knew it was a good one. It had saved my ass a bunch of times in the past. So I was like, no way.
He's full of shit. He didn't get you.
Yeah. Totally, right? So, yeah.
Man.
Well, buddy, I mean, speaking of the Cookie Monster and potential future street races, I mean, other than that rear bead lock, I mean, and however this thing sounds too, right?
Yeah.
Those are going to be your 2 dead giveaways.
Yes.
Outside of that, she's a fairly unassuming blue GT.
Yes. Yeah. The Cookie Monster thing kind of came about, like the name. Actually, I the more I think back to it, I was having a conversation with Nick, and he's kind of the one that said, because I said I want it to look stock. I don't want a big hood. I don't want like I don't want any giveaways that this thing is what it really is. Like, I just want it to look stock. And that was the stock hood was like a deal breaker for me. Because I did not want to go with like, a little cowl induction or whatever. And he's like, okay, cool. He says, so like, cookie cutter on the outside and cookie monster on the inside. And I did say cookie cutter, and I fully embrace that. Like, I think that doesn't insult me. When I think cookie cutter, I think more of like period correct, right? Like,
right.
If somebody says cookie cutter to me, I think like heads cam intake and centrifugal supercharger or something like that. Because that's like the common build in these cars. That's the shit that we all wanted when we were teenagers and we couldn't afford, right? Like, I was lucky to buy like a Dynomax catback for my 85 GT when I was 18 years old. Like, that was a big deal for me. That and like some underdrive pulleys or something. But like the dream was, having that cookie cutter build, right? Like having the heads cam intake and a supercharger. That was like the goal. So the cookie cutter, cookie monster thing kind of came when Nick and I were talking, and it really kind of, again, reassured me that this is really what I wanted. I wanted a car that looks stock, and it's going to catch a lot of people off guard, because with the exception of the wheels, if the car is just sitting there and the hood's closed, people are going to walk by and be like, what's the big fucking deal? What's the big deal about this car? Right. I got rid of the A-pillar gauges, so that's all gone. I got a Holly Pro Dash. So, the Pro Dash has all of the gauges on it, everything that I need. So got rid of those gauges, so you don't even see that anymore. The interior still has stock seats, still has the stock center console, with the working ashtray door.
So you're not even cup holdered. Good.
No, not even cup holder on that car. Nope. I'm like, really. So I have the OG cup holder. But yeah, so that was really the goal, was to keep everything appearing on the outside, and even on the inside, to look stock. And then, you pop the hood and it's like, whoa. So I haven't, again, while we're talking here, I'll kind of pull something up, because I don't think Chris has seen any of this either. Gary, I know I sent you some pictures while like the build was going on. But once like all the intercooler piping was complete and came back from powder coat and everything, like I just stopped, because I didn't, I'm kind of thinking like it's going to be a better reveal if I wait until the engine bay is done. But if people are watching, then they're going to get a sneak peek. So they got to actually be watching in order to get a sneak peek here. And I'll show you guys. Now, again, the engine bay is not done, but if you can see that there.
Yep.
And if you see what he did here, because I didn't want that going into the fender. So this is all going to be sealed up. I think we're still gonna from the back. I think we're still gonna put the air filter into the fender there, because I don't want to have like a filter like sticking out just out the back like that. I think that looks kind of cheesy. But this like bend right here was really a big deal. To get that all done like that. But that's fully wired. That's what that thing's completely wired. Everything is tucked. There's still more work that has been done since then. And what we're going to do is when I say we, I mean them. I'm not Scott rodding these things. They're gonna fill all of these holes. They're just gonna weld all these holes, and over here they're probably gonna cut that out and then just weld another piece in there in its place, and then it's just gonna go out for paint. So it's gonna be like a stock engine bay, just with all the holes welded up, and then fully painted. So but because
you had gotten rid of your battery under the hood a while ago too, right?
Yes. Yeah,
so one of them little guys.
Yeah, it's like the little lithium like motorcycle battery, and that it actually fits in the little spare tire in the back of the hatch, so you can't see it it fits completely underneath that. Like there's no modification made to make it fit underneath there.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, like that thing's still like it's got a lot of power. It's I forgot what the brand was, but I can look it up. But yeah, it's one of those little mini batteries. So
Right. Huh. And did they like what's the I always wonder like cuz size, right? In at least in batteries, well,
yeah.
batteries and cocks, right? It's about the two things where it matters. And so like how are we packing as many? I guess you're probably just not getting like as many amp hours out of it. You're still probably getting the same cold cranking amps, but you're just not getting as many turns out of it.
I don't know. I want to say it's the lithium is more, it's like compressed, right?
Yeah.
So like you're getting the same in a smaller form factor.
Mm,
Right. Right. They're
okay.
very powerful batteries. Yep.
Yeah, because the Atomic
Right.
Fox has one, and like it's in the like behind the because it's in a notch, so it's in the trunk, but like up towards the back of the rear seat, and like that thing, like yeah, if you leave the doors and the dome lights on for 2 days straight, it's gonna drain it. But otherwise, I never noticed
Yeah.
any difference whatsoever, other than the fact it's way smaller and lighter.
Yep. It's a anti-gravity. That's what the brand
Mm,
is. And
okay.
I've never had to use it, but a lot of the anti-gravity batteries have like like a backup, like a catch-all, you know. So like if the battery does go dead, it always has enough power to give you one more crank, one more turn.
Oh,
So
like a reserve.
it'll always have reserve power to give you one more. I've never had to use it, but it's kind of comforting to know. The only thing that kind of scares me is that, you know, like it's lithium, right? And it's like sitting right above my gas tank. so,
Yeah.
so if that thing goes off, fucking just run. Like there is no
Yeah.
fire extinguisher. There's nothing. Just run.
No shit.
So,
What do you mind me asking, buddy? Like you obviously pay for them,
yep.
like i.e. like they're a decent coin to buy one of these.
The battery? No,
Yeah.
actually, surprisingly, the battery is like I think maybe like three under
Oh.
350 or something like that. It's like an
Hmm.
Optima. I mean, they're not that expensive. I think that just that people don't think to use them for a car,
Right. Fucking lights.
but you know, and look, I want to give 100% credit to Mario because when I saw his battery and his notch, it right away I was like, I want that. I want this. If I'm going to put a battery in the trunk, I don't want to have this big bulky box, you know, sitting on top, you know, by the wheel well or something like that. I would
Right.
like to have something small. And then, you know, Nick found one that was even smaller than what Mario has, so that it fits in the little trunk or in the little battery. I'm sorry, in the little spare tire compartment.
Hmm.
So you know, I guess in just that little bit of time since Mario did his and I did mine, like they had a smaller battery available. So
Right. Do they not to geek out on batteries or anything here, but do they require like a similar sort of venting system to like the whatever the hell ours are, lead acid?
you know, that's a good question.
Oh,
I don't think
Oh,
so.
they're
Uh,
sealed.
yeah, I don't think that they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'd be like an AGM. Like you don't have to worry about the venting.
hmm. Interesting. Oh, that's cool. Fuck, how did we get on that topic? Oh, you were showing us pictures of this, and I said, yeah, you moved your
Yeah.
battery, right? Yeah, dude, it's gonna look sweet. I know, like I've been whatever sitting on this photo for a while, right? Back when you texted it to me, I'm like, God damn it. Like that is one tight looking package, you know?
Yeah, you know,
Who
and
built that motor, Tom?
Nick built the whole thing. He
Okay.
yeah, from so um you know, the it's been about a year since like I made the decision of like which direction I wanted to go, because that Loch Ness car that they built was kind of getting me thinking like maybe I wanted some sort of a Coyote, like a high revving Coyote. The the issue that I had, or my feeling about that, was when I drove that car, as awesome as it was it just didn't have like any torque. It just didn't feel like it was fast, but it just didn't feel like it. Like I'm used to, like, these small blocks that just kind of seat your ass in that seat, right? So
No
I was
grunt.
thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll go with like a build, like a high revving Coyote, but maybe we'll put a little bit of boost, maybe a small turbo or something, do something different. And then, just in conversation, Nick told me that he had a customer that that he was going to build a 363 for, and he wasn't backing out, but he was asking, like, hey, do you know anybody that might want to buy this motor? So then right away I started thinking, you know what, that's really the direction I wanted to go. So he already had the block. He had some of the pieces. And then when we started talking more about my goals, then it was like, okay, well, we need new pistons, we need a new cam, but we have the block and stuff like that. So, but yeah, while they moved shops, I think it was like at the end of last year, maybe it was the beginning of this year or something like that. They ended up moving shops, and that kind of caused some delay. But the cool thing is that this new shop is so much better. It's bigger, and they actually have like a dedicated engine building room. So it's
nice.
it's kind of like a
clean room.
Clean room, right? So yeah, but I got updates, when the motor was being built, and all along the way, from just pistons all the way to the heads going on there, and then just turning the crank and watching everything move inside before he sealed it up. So yeah, but everything was built by Nick over at Streetcar Shenanigans. So
yeah. Nice.
That's awesome, buddy. Yeah, I know this thing looks. You must be just like ecstatic, hey? Like you're probably, in your mind, you're thinking like, fuck, all I want to do is cartwheels across my house right now. But we're not to the finish line yet, right? Because like I'm that excited for you.
Yeah.
Like for all the shit you've been through with the last time you were on the pod, right?
Gremlins, yeah.
Oh God.
And look, there's still that that 800-pound gorilla in the room, right? Like we don't know what we don't know yet, right? So I'm feeling really confident again. So Nick is a co-owner, right? The other co-owner is his cousin Dan, and they're like this amazing team. And Dan is like the ultimate like wiring guru. Like he does all of the wiring. Nick does like the fab work and stuff like that, and a lot of engine building. But the two of them together is just like an amazing team. So Dan has like rewired a lot of my car, and sometimes out of necessity, and sometimes just because like they're very particular and very OCD about things, and they do it. Everybody does everything differently, right? Yeah. But he's rewired a lot of the car, pulled a lot of stuff out that didn't need to be there. I've had a few cooks in the kitchen over the years, so again, a lot of the kind of questionable stuff has been replaced and fixed, and super clean. So yeah, so I'm excited. I'm feeling very confident, and I'll sleep better once I actually can drive it and know that everything's good.
Yeah, you kind of removed all the air quote cancer, right?
Yeah,
exactly. And now we're rebuilding new tits, new ass, new everything, right? Like, yeah, man, that's going to be a lot of fun. Well, and I think, were you hoping that you could maybe drive it pre like engine bay tune up? Wasn't that one of the goals?
Yeah, so originally, like the real goal was to have this thing for Motor City this year, which in hindsight I realized like what a ridiculous dream that was. because I'm seeing how much work has gone into it since then, right? So that was the original goal, was to have it at Motor City. And then I think that, we were maybe going to have the car running, by, in time for before the, the winter, snow and stuff out here. But again, like, with the shop move and everything, and these guys getting stuff sorted out, it just kind of delayed, the build a little bit. And now we've got, a foot of snow out here in Chicagoland. So, even though we get the motor running and we get the car running, I think the next step, once we make sure everything's good, I don't know to what extent they're gonna run the car, because it's got to come apart again and then go out for paint for the engine bay.
Yeah.
So, again, yeah, we're gonna fire it up, and then I don't know exactly what's gonna happen after that. But I'm definitely not driving it. We've got salt down out here already, so it's not, even going around the block, I don't think.
Yeah, it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to even like start fucking around tuning it, right? Because you're like, all these connectors are coming apart. Like, you know what I mean? Everything's coming apart again. So like, let's just run it, leak test it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I did think that it would, or we thought that it might be running a little sooner than now. And, you might get it out and hit a show or two before the end of the year. But, and when I say show, I mean like local, clubs and stuff like that, not any big shows, but, it didn't happen, and that's fine. The next year's a new year. So yeah, kind of taking it step by step. Let's get it running.
Yeah.
Let's make sure everything's good. I'm sure it's going to be good. Everything's going to be fine. Nick's very confident that things are going to pop off right away. And then, one thing we didn't talk about. So I kept. This was another like deal breaker. The car, it's going to be a street car. Okay. So, and everybody has different definitions of what that is, but street car to me means I'm going to have heat and I'm going to have AC. Obviously I still have power steering, power brakes.
Yeah.
So they've got some tricks up their sleeve that, how they're going to run the AC and the heater, hoses and stuff like that. So, actually the call I got tonight was like how they're changing up their plan, because originally what they were going to do was have like a bulkhead on the passenger side fender there, and have everything run inside there and then go inside the fender. And I don't know how they're going to snake it around, but keep it as hidden as possible. Change of plans. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but it sounds like it's not just for money saving, but it's also just going to be a better way of routing these lines. But they're not going to go stock, right? Like they're not going to go, like have the AC lines run how they normally do on the outside,
right.
And the heater lines are not just going to go right there. They're going to try to just make it look cleaner and neater and hide as much as possible.
Right.
So yeah,
Makes sense, right? Especially when you guys are going to go to the lengths that you are, like welding up all the holes in the fenders and shit like that, right? Like for the inner wheel wells, like, may as well.
Are you keeping factory brakes on it? Like other than that, I saw there was factory booster still in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the booster is getting replaced. I gave a lot of like creative freedom, with this build. And it's like already over budget. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Like, and the thing is, like, for anybody planning like something like this, like you need to have like your budget, and then you need to have like your real budget, right? Like there's like, this is my goal budget, but this is like the real budget. And so we've already surpassed like that goal budget, but I'm still happy because, when you've got like the accountant that's making the decisions on a build, you're probably not going to get the quality that you want, or the coolness factor, with some of the stuff. But I don't know if we're changing the booster. Like we kind of got to the point where we were thinking of going with like some cool TBM brakes and maybe either a Cobra booster. I'm not going like Hydro boost or anything like that, but maybe a Cobra booster or something. But I kind of pulled back on that with the TBM and stuff like that. I want to see if we can get my Cobra brakes to work. But the booster is the only thing that the booster and the master are something that are still kind of questionable. And we still have time, again, we're going to get all this stuff sorted out before the car goes out for paint. But yeah, that's a good question because I still don't know yet if we're going to stick with that or upgrade the booster or something like that.
Yeah.
Was it all swapped over to like 0304 Cobra stuff brake wise?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Hey, before I forget too, buddy, that was a stock bottom end 5-liter that came out of that car, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When I bought the car, it was so again, it was an AOD car. And it had 60,000 miles on it. It was like 60,400 or something. And the thing about the AOD cars is even if you try to beat the piss out of them, like it's nothing compared to like the manuals where you can dump the clutch and just rev the piss out of it, right? So it was a very solid like stock car. But yeah, so it was stock bottom end, and then I just had a Trick Flow track heat top end kit. And something that I noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but because when I was trying to kind of price out this motor here, I was looking to find like the top end kit, and all I can find is like the top end kit now is just like the heads and cam. It doesn't include the intake. When I bought my kit, it was heads, cam, intake, and everything included.
Well, there could be something nobody like. I know Trick Flow. Nobody really talked about it, but like maybe a year and a half ago, it was like almost impossible. Well, it was definitely impossible to get a brand new Trick Flow upper and lower, regardless of if it was their fucking R or their street or their, there was those like two options. So maybe that's why, if you were looking like specifically Trick Flow related.
Yeah, I was, because I wanted to find like the same kit that I had. And the thing is though, that what I found was the same price as what I paid for my kit with the intake. Because I'm like, wait a second, this is like $2,800 and that doesn't include the intake. And then the intake, the upper and lower is like $900. So it just seemed really odd that they didn't sell the whole package together anymore. But yeah, that's what I had on my car. I had the Trick Flow track heat top end kit, and then stock bottom end.
Right.
It's low mileage stock bottom end.
Yeah. And then did the heads, cam, intake, blower, and brakes, like was that all happened at once in the previous iteration?
Yeah, it was kind of like when I first got the car, I wanted to kind of build a good base for the supercharger. I knew my end goal was the supercharger. So when I first got the car, Mario actually introduced me to a local guy out here, Nate, Dr. Foxbody, and great guy. Like he's been working on his car for 20 years now. And, I brought the car to him and I wanted to do the T5 swap, full exhaust and a gear. And so I ordered the transmission, ordered all the parts and stuff like that. And he calls me up and he says, hey, he's like, the car is great, but he says, I'm having trouble with the transmission. I can't shift it into fifth gear without it grinding. Like no matter what I do, I've adjusted the clutch. I've done everything I possibly can. He's like, and then on top of that, he says there's a small leak coming from the case. And he's like, you're going to have to send this transmission back. So I'm like, fuck. And then on top of that, he was actually going on his he had been married for a few years, but they never had a honeymoon, so they were going to be gone for 2 weeks going on honeymoon. And I'm like, well, okay, great. Now I got to wait for him to come back. We got to send the transmission back. It's going to be a couple weeks, and all that time for my brain to start thinking. I'm like, hey, well, while we wait, why don't we do some more work to the car? And he's like, oh, I already know. He says, you want to do a head scan, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So I brought a stock AOD. I mean, to the silent. I first thing I did when I got the car, I pulled the silencer off. But that car had the silencer on it still. So I took a stock AOD GT to this guy and got it back with head cam intake, full exhaust, and then, a 373 gear and a T5, you know what I mean? So like, it was not even remotely the same car.
Right.
But yeah, so all of that was then building up to the supercharger. And I did do the supercharger first. And then I ended up doing the brake swap, because I wanted to do the rear disc, and then just ended up doing the upgrade. I got really lucky with that because I bought the kit from like Rock Auto for the Cobra swap, and the front calipers like were leaking. And this was right. I think this was like right before COVID, and they had nothing. They're like, not only do we not have anything, there's nothing in production. Like, so you're shit out of luck. And my buddy Nate called in a favor with another guy locally, and he actually has an 03 Cobra, and he just did a Willwood upgrade or something on his car. And when I talked to him, he says, look, these are not for sale. But he says Nate called in a favor, and Nate never calls in a favor. So I ended up getting, those the real front Cobra calipers for my car. So as of now, they're going to stay on the car, but I think probably a TBM upgrade, in the future, just for better brakes and for, I guess for coolness factor, I guess,
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, the old Cookie Monster, eh? She's been around the block since you got her.
It's gonna be $100,000 car here in a minute, So when you think of all the like things that I've done to it since the day I bought it, and that's fine. And I think there's going to be a lot of people listening that are in the same boat, right? Like they've done a build and then they changed, they kind of their style changed a little bit. They want to do something different, or they want to put a new motor in there, or go a different route with boost or something like that. It happens. And actually Matt, Gearhead, he was somebody who I know he did a video a while back, ways back, but he did a total, like a tally up of like what his car costs. Like this is like $50-something thousand. It's like, yeah, now I see where he's coming from, right? Like it's not hard to do especially when he had a motor built for him, and did a lot of work on that car and paint job and all that stuff, and it adds up, man. Unless you're doing the work yourself, it adds up. But parts are parts. You're still buying the parts.
It's so true, man. It's funny because a post I did there this week was something to the effect of like, when you got $100,000 into a $4,000 shit box or whatever. I've had a few people, and now I obviously I pulled those two numbers out of my ass. Funny enough, I'm probably being light on the $100,000 side of things, and I'm being favorable on the $4,000 too. But I had a few people comment and say, "Oh fuck, $100,000? Are you kidding me?" Like they don't believe it, and I'm like, I never kept tally, but had I kept tally, I bet it's way north of that. And this is just stupid shit over the year. I bet I've had $20,000 in stereo equipment in this fucking car.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
like just stupid shit.
Yeah.
Especially when you own them for a long period of time. Now, when you just say, take this component of like this version of the Streetcar Shenanigans Cookie Monster upgrade, here's a tally, right? But like you say, then you put the heads cam intake, T5 swap gear, exhaust tally in there. You start like conglomerating all of these various iterations, and you're like, whoo,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I saw John. I don't know how to I don't know his last name. He's the one that actually won Best of Show at Foxtoberfest this year.
Oh, Londar.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, Londar. Yep. And so he's got a group going, and you know, he kind of posted something along that lines. You know, like what would you? Everybody says like I'll never sell it, right?
Yep.
But what is your I'm not selling price, right? And I was like, I started typing. I'm like, no, delete, delete, delete. And then I start typing. I'm like, no, delete, delete, delete. Because the thing is, like, you know, I did have somebody ask me. I had somebody ask me one time, "What's your not for sale price?" And I you know, was an Arab guy, and I was cautious because I'm like, this fucker's probably got money, so be careful, right? So I'm like, no, I'm not playing that game. But the thing is, like, you know, if you try and sell a car for like what you have into it, people are gonna laugh at you. You're never gonna get your money out of it, right? Like that's never gonna happen. And, you know, this car, it's not just the money, it's also just like the sentimental value to me, like all the sleepless nights and, you know, all the stress that you go through, you know, when things don't go right or whatever, when you got deadlines and you're trying to meet this one or whatever. It's like there's no amount of money right now unless it's like stupid money. And when I mean stupid, I mean 6 figures stupid. Like I would not let my car go. It's just, it means too much to me. I've got too much into it. And again, like, you know, if you start, you know, you get out your calculator and start figuring out like what I've got into it, it's just even 100,000 is not enough to pull me away from this car. It's just not going to happen. So that's why I stayed out of that whole conversation. I see guys like, oh, 25,000, it's sold. I'm like, fuck, 25,000. I could have bought a couple of those cars already. You know? So
you know, dude, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this a few times on here, and this is one of those topics that it's almost like trying to explain a feeling, which is very difficult to do. But I think like I'm at a point where in life where I've lost, I don't look at money the same way that I did when I was a kid. I don't look at like the obtaining of it. I don't look at the spending of it like I did. Like it's lost its luster to me. And just for the record, ladies and gentlemen, and I say this a lot, but like, we don't eat fancy here. We haven't had steaks in my house in years because it's too much fucking money. Like, you know, the couple times I send Tom videos because we both like barbecue and of steaks, that's the only fucking time we got steaks in my house. We live off hamburger and chicken thighs. And that's even getting a little too expensive. But anyway, the point being is I'm not saying this from a point of like, I've made it and that's why I no longer look at money the way I do. But for me, I feel wealthier with like friendships, and I feel wealthier with something that I'm passionate about. And I don't know, it's kind of hippie-ish, but like money just doesn't matter to me anymore, because the point in saying all this is when people, and it's a great topic of conversation, right? Like, what's your not for sale price? But at the same time, I'm just like when I say that I wouldn't sell this thing for any amount of money, like I literally mean that from the bottom of my soul, because that stupid car means that much to me on all those other levels. You know, like it's like a friendship. I would never sell my friendship with you, with Chris, with any of my buddies. You know what I mean? Like it's not for sale. There's no amount of money that can replace that for me. And that's where that car sits too. And it's because of, like you said, the sleepless nights, just the stories and the memories, and it's part of the family. Like it's part of me.
Right.
You know?
And even like the torture that these cars put us through, you know, like those are the things that kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like what makes you admire these cars, you know, like whenever you see like, I'll see somebody post like, oh, my car's doing this. And it's like, fuck, I've had that. I've been there before. You know, it's like, welcome to the club. right? Like it's just one of these things like, you know, it again, topic of conversation or something like that. Like it's, I
It's your
don't know.
buy-in.
Yeah.
It's like going to the Navy and getting the tattoo on your forearm, you
Right.
know, like it's your buy-in.
Right. Right. And I think too, you know, of all the friendships, and things that have happened since, you know, getting this car, um, you know, it's to me, it's like, it's just like a blessing, you know,
Mhm.
again, with all the torture that it's put me through, but you know, I wouldn't know the two of you guys, you
Yeah.
know, I wouldn't know any of the 50 Asylum guys, or, you know, just a ton of people. I mean, Dwayne, you know, Dwayne is another good example of, you know, somebody like during COVID, you know, he didn't have a Mustang. He was an old school Mustang guy, like back in the day, but he's, you know, COVID, there's nothing to do. He's watching YouTube and he stumbles upon my video with Mario, and he sees the Illinois plate. He's like, oh shit, these guys are local. And I ended up seeing him at a local car show. You know, we kind of became friends, and now, like, you know, now I would definitely say he's one of my best friends. And
Yep.
all of that happened. You know, him and I do all the traveling car shows and stuff together too. So
Yeah.
it's like, none of the stuff would have happened if it wasn't for this stupid car, you know. And I say stupid, you know, with love, but if it wasn't for
Yeah.
this car, you know, none of this stuff would have happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you know, again, the car is very sentimental to me, um, you know, for that reason. So
Yeah. No, it's so true, man. I think, you know, after saying it now, it's probably something I'm going to go to more often. Is it'd be like selling your kid or your family or your friend or your whatever. Like it just doesn't compute. So for me, the whatever, I'll chime in the conversation and have fun with everybody about it, but like, fuck, it's just not like,
mhm.
and it's not because it's some unobtainable fucking whatever. Now, granted, that one that was floating around for 150 grand recently here is kind of funny, but like, yeah, it's this particular car too. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, this VIN, this fucker is part of me, you know?
Yeah, and they definitely have, you know, like you're saying, that car, like that is not the same as your convertible, right? Like
No.
there's different ties, there's different memories, there's, you know, they're completely different.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and you know, with my car, with the blue car being down as long as it was, like that's why I jumped on that opportunity to get the fixer upper notch, you know, like I wanted to get back in the game, and it wasn't just that, it's just like I missed that feeling of driving the car. I missed the experience of like going to the shows and, you know, hanging out with, you know, some of the local guys. It just, you know, it kind of pumped some new life into me, having that car. But again, it's different. Like it's not, you know, losing that car would not be the same as losing the blue car, and same with, you know, losing the, you know, vice versa.
Yeah.
They're just different experiences, but the blue car, you know, that one, that's my baby.
Yeah.
That's the one I want to keep, as, you know, as long as I possibly can. So
Yeah. The wife. Uh, all right, buddy. I'm glad you brought up the coupe because, well, shit, you and I haven't really chatted much since I put that video out talking about stock versus hot rodded, and I pretty much made the video about you. Really, I'm like, fuck. I hope he doesn't mind because this is all about brother Tom.
oh, that's awesome. That's good. That's good.
But we had talked so much about it, right? Because we were
Yeah.
going back and forth as you were fiddle fucking around with that
Yeah.
coupe and trying to get her whatever up to snuff. And I was like, funny enough, dude, I didn't even have an idea, or I didn't even know I was going to do that video. And then looking forward on the 2-week forecast, things were looking a little kind of rocky towards the end of 2 weeks. And I'm like, I should just top up the tank and
Yeah.
whatever, right? Like start prepping. And so I went for a little drive, and going into that drive, hell, right now I haven't put out a video in a little while since that one. And I didn't have an idea then, and I don't have an idea now. So as I went for my little drive, I'm like, fuck, why didn't I bring my camera? Right. Cause
Yeah.
now as I'm enjoying this stock ride, I'm like, all these ideas are coming to me. So flipped the shitty, came back, got my camera, and whatever, the rest is on YouTube. But yeah, man, how much are you enjoying that greasy little primer red coupe?
A lot, it's there. I'm finally experiencing like that kind of sense of pride, I guess you can say, when you actually do some of the work yourself. Now, granted, I haven't really done any like big mechanical work on the car, but I mean, you've seen it. It's like basically primer and like there's a story that I can get into about why the car is in the shape that it's in. But basically, it's not the prettiest looking car. It's straight, but the first thing I wanted to do when I got it was like, okay, I want to make the interior nice. Because when I'm in it, I want it to feel good and look good inside, right? Because you're driving the car and that's what you see. So that was the first thing that I tackled. And, not like taking the interior part, is a big deal. But, once you do it 10 times or whatever it is, like I can do it with my eyes closed now, right? And then I remember the stupid stereo issue. Like I remember sending you a message about that. It was like, it was just one of those things. Like, I'm like losing sleep. So I'm like, why the fuck isn't it working? Like I took a stock stereo, hooked it back up and put an amp back in it and it works. And then I take that out and I put this Kenwood in it and it doesn't work. Like what's going on? But once that was figured out, it's like those little accomplishments like make you it kind of like it starts bringing you closer, right, to the car. Like you start getting some sentimental feelings. So yeah, I love it. I mean, it's slow as shit because it's stock, but it sounds cool, and it just reminds me again of being 16 years old when that was fast. A stock Mustang was fast. One of the cool things about it is that it has like a full Mac exhaust on there. It had, I don't like the headers because it has the equal length headers and, they fit like shit on every car. But they're like touching the frame rails and they're burning the frame rails. Like I'm getting like rust on the frame. So those are coming off. I have the I have the BBK shorties off of the blue car. So I'm either going to put those on or I might put just the stock headers back on. But yeah, a really super clean Mac off-road H pipe and then the full Mac catback exhaust. So it's got that really cool old school sound to it. So yeah, so that's kind of where I did end up doing some suspension work. Originally, we were Dwayne and I cut some coils, and he's like, "Oh, Infamous does it all the time," and that was a shit show because we took the car for a ride afterwards, and I'm like, "This is awesome! Like it rides nice and low, it's still nice and comfortable." And the next day was like the season closer for a local car club. And I got in my car and I got maybe a mile from my house. And once I started going a little faster, like the back end started bouncing a lot. And I'm like, that's weird. And then it was like, it sounded like something just collapsed in the front end because I just heard like constant like grinding. It was like the car was like skidding on the ground. And I'm like, fuck. And I started smelling some burning. I'm like, is that the clutch? Did like a caliper freeze or what happened? So I limped the car back home and I couldn't even put my fingers between the wheel and the top of, the fender right there. So what I believe happened is that the front strut just decided today's the day, the end of my life. And, so, then I ended up doing it the right way. The next weekend I had another friend come over and I just bought like the SV, lowering springs and the KYB, shocks and struts. But again, it makes for a good story and, it's an experience. Like I got to get my hands dirty and it just kind of, again, brings you a little bit closer, to the cars. So.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it too. Hey, buddy, is like being the one that's pulling the wrenches,
Yeah.
right? Like that's a big component of this is like that's all your blood, sweat, and tears, you know?
Mhm.
And when it breaks my heart, I'm trying to think of the guy's name now. Like I've seen seen one of these posts recently where you got the guy with the half ton and the U-Haul rent a trailer, and he's kind of waving bye to his car, and he's like, it's going to a good home. It's been fun. I'm just like, holy fuck! Like this is like watching the last scene of Lassie. It's like Jesus Christ. So yeah, I don't know how guys do it, especially when they're the ones that made that car what it was.
Yeah.
Right. And I get it. I mean, life changes and things happen, bills pop up, whatever. But there's definitely a component of all this where you're the one pulling on the wrenches,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I think some people also, when they buy these cars, it's not, it might not be that they've had the same experiences that we did. Like they might not have that same bond that we do. So it's easier for them to let it go.
Yeah.
I have a few friends that like they buy them and they flip them faster than you can, you get a license plate for them. It's just they have no sentimental ties whatsoever. It's a car, and if somebody wants it, for a good price, I'll sell it. Whereas me, buying this car was just like kind of, in a sense, reliving like my younger years, but also having the opportunity to do what I always wanted to do when I was younger, and I just couldn't afford to do it.
Yeah.
Again, like back in the late 80s and early 90s, like if you pulled up to a stoplight and another car pulled up and you heard, that supercharger, right? Or if they revved it up and you heard a blow off, psh, like you knew, like, fuck, this guy's got some money.
Yeah.
Like I'm not messing with that car, you know.
Totally.
So it's just, again, it's kind of cool, like being able to relive a little bit of your younger years, and just finally, have that car that you've always wanted in the
Yeah.
build, the build style that you've always wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shit, Chris, like you kind of come from both sides of this, because I mean, you got that white coupe that is kind of this is the last car to go if any of these things got to be sold type car. But then at the same time, you've got them where they kind of come into your life and out relatively quickly too. And like I do I do get that side of it, because like that yellow 79 I got, I mean, we don't have a relationship together, that car and I. You know what I mean? It's kind of just a car. And sure, it falls under the Foxbody category and it does all those things, but it's just kind of like, Now that I say that, it kind of comes to mind that, well, shit, I've had all three of my girls, while Sadie's sitting on my lap steering it, but all three of my girls have driven that car, right? But like that doesn't compare to the level of
Sure.
commitment that I've got to the one over my shoulder either, though, right? But I think it's moments like that, or struggling trying to figure out the stereo or something stupid, right? And you're just like, shit, like me and this car got history, man, and
Yep.
you can't replace that.
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. It's like I'll get in the car and it's like the stereo kicks on. I'm like, oh yeah,
right.
the radio works again. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
you're right.
It's different timing in our lives as well, because like when we were young, we were motivated, like it was always like you wanted to upgrade or you wanted that next best thing. So it was always like, easy to trade up. Hence, I got rid of my white car initially and then I bought it back because I was in a position where the money didn't really matter anymore. It was more about, the memories and everything else. And then I don't know, like I even think about some of the like stuff like this 93 Reef GT or the Black GT or any of that. Those cars, whatever. It's bought with flip in mind. Now, the one that hurt was the T-top. Like, I didn't really have much invested into that blue and silver T-top I redid and got rid of. Because that was sort of like the car that I always wanted to build. But yeah, I think something about not having that monetary driver behind things as much too, where it's just sort of like, oh, dude, is it really costing me anything to have this? I think once, like, if you're in that position, then you're not as motivated to necessarily get rid of stuff. Because it all comes down to money. It really does. Like, if push comes to shove, and you've even said it too, Gary, you're like, the only way you're going to get rid of the Green Dragon is if for whatever reason shit hits the fan, and you got to support the family.
Yeah.
If you got to support the family, you're going to do what you have to do. But otherwise, it's like, well, why am I going to get rid of that? Like, I don't need to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I guess it's everybody's life has a different hierarchy of priorities in it, right? Where, Tom, it sounds like hearing the story tonight, I mean, the Cookie Monsters kind of made it right up there under wife, right? Like, if there's whatever, like when you're running out of the house because you think something like, oh, whatever, it's on fire, like you're grabbing the wife and the cars to the cook or the keys to the Cookie Monster, like that level of priority.
Yeah.
And I think other people, and I'm not whatever shitting on them for it, but like maybe their car doesn't make it to that level of priority for them, right?
Yeah.
Or their life gets flipped upside down or whatever, right? But yeah, I mean, it'd take a lot for me. I mean, my kids would need like, $3 million kidneys to part ways with that stupid car over my shoulder, like it just, I don't know. Fuck. Well, I mean, you guys have both met my wife, and I don't know if she shared any of the story, but like she jokes with anyone that's willing to listen, like that's the first wife, she's wife too, right? And it's not because I like really treat it that way either. I mean, fuck, Chris, you've seen me hit it with a hammer. I mean, it like, and I wouldn't do that to my wife either, but like it's some days maybe. It's, I don't know, it just stupid shit means stuff to you,
Yeah.
And it's the pulling the wrenches, it's the memories, I can't replace that stuff. Sure, I could get another green coupe, but it wouldn't have all them memories and wouldn't have all my blood and skin laying all over the sharp edges of it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
But the stock car thing, dude, I know I kind of wanted to get into that a bit with you because like I've actually had like very positive reviews from people like coming out of the stock world, right? And I don't know if maybe all the hopped up car guys are a little too busy to weigh in or what's going on there, right? It is winter, so people are tearing shit down and building stuff. But yeah, it's had a like overwhelmingly high level of fuck yeah, stock's the answer, right? And I think everybody knows where I'm coming from in it. I mean, at least if you've heard me talk a few times in life, I mean, I play in both ends of it and I enjoy both ends of it. And that was kind of the whole point of it all is play in this end, but like make sure you got a backup plan, right? This is the whole go for the hot girl at 8:00 at night, but make sure you got the swamp donkey at 2 that you can drag out of the bar, right? Like backup plans, boys, backup plans. And stock is the backup plan. I mean, never gives you any grief. And if it does give you any grief, it's going to be like a very minor amount of grief that your buddy next door is going to be like, dude, that's just the fuel pump. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like minor, quick fix shit. But yeah, when you're hopped up to no end and your ethanol sniffer is giving you grief, right? It's like, now what?
Yeah. So the Cookie Monster has far exceeded my ability to ever turn a wrench on it. I think other than maybe an oil change or something like that. So this, of course, then the red car, the stock, notch is like, it's a lot more comforting to know, like you're saying, like, oh, if I got to change this or change that, simple tune up or something like that, it's something that, can be done in my garage. And actually, so I've been kind of like going back and forth with like what I want to do with this car. And I was talking with Bill Butler, and he was just in conversation, was kind of like making me think of doing like a old like motorsport type build with this car. Like, okay, I want to go with like some 3-bar heads and maybe a letter cam and some sort of a Ford Motorsport intake, whether it's like a Cobra intake or, GT40 tubular or an Explorer, whatever, I kind of got my wheels turned a little bit on like that. But I'm still kind of torn. I'm still considering like, putting, so it has a trick flow intake on it as well. I don't think I've told you that. So it has a trick flow intake and a different throttle body, but, I believe it's also got like 1.7 rockers on it.
Because you thought it might have had a cam, wasn't sure, but maybe it's just the rocker in there or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So it kind of has like a bit of a lumpy cam sound. And again, the car goes like, I know the history of it going back over 20 years. Because a friend of mine owned it, and then he ended up selling it to my brother-in-law, and then it sat in his garage. So in talking with my friend, I'm like, he's telling me all these things about it. And he's like, I don't think we put a cam. He's like, I'm pretty sure we just did like rockers, and there are 1.7 rockers on there. But I've been debating, like, I have all the original stuff from the blue car from my GT. So it's like, I have a super low mileage, really clean, upper and lower intake, the throttle body is still attached, so it's like, do I put it back to stock?
Revert?
What's that?
Like just, revert back to stock?
That's what I'm kind of thinking, because what is a trick flow intake doing on a stock motor? Like, not much, just about the same thing as those equal length shorty headers, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. So it's like, putting stock headers back on there, and the stock, upper and lower intake and throttle body and stuff is just going to be more period correct. And, again, like, yes, I bought this, the notchback, like, because I wanted to get back in, to a Foxbody and be able to drive and enjoy it. But I think the ultimate like goal of that car is that eventually, once the Cookie Monster is back home and all the bugs are sorted out, then the red car is going to be like my wife's car. Like most people, she's driven stick before, but it's been a long time. But I'm confident that this car, they're so easy to drive when they're stock. They've got enough torque where you don't even have to give it any throttle. You can just slowly baby that clutch out, and the car's going to start moving for you. They're very forgiving. And, she's not obviously like we are as passionate about these cars, but she does enjoy it, and she does like learning. So it's like, a nice stock notchback would be perfect. Of course I can drive it, but if I want to, but it would be primarily like her cool car. So that's like the end goal.
It gives her no grief at stop signs. Just you're getting from A to B guaranteed.
Right. It sounds cool. It can look cool. And, Chris is definitely, the guy that I always refer to, when I say this. It's like, you can take, especially Chris, can take any car and give it the right wheels and the right stance, and like it just makes it 1,000 times better. And that's kind of what I want to do with this car as well. Get some, it's got like some like really generic like Cobra R wheels on it or something like that, but they're fine. Like they're fine for now. But I think some better wheels, a really good stance on the car, and then we'll figure out like what to do, as far as like the body, the paint and body and stuff like that, where we're going to go with that. But mechanically, I want it to be all good, and
Yeah. like on that mechanical note too, like that's what I was kind of going to go down is like, how fun would it be, especially once the Cookie Monster's back and you guys have ran it on the dyno and had some testing done and you know, it's whatever, you're feeling good and confident about the car being ready to rock and roll and done.
Yeah.
Like pull the motor out of the coupe and reseal it. Like what a fucking fun couple weeks that'd be.
Right.
You know? And maybe like you say, while you're at it, maybe we'll go backwards a little bit and we'll put the stock intake on it. Because if the end goal is to make it mom's car, well then fuck it. You know what I mean?
And
that's fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that gives you a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, that's going to have to happen too, because it's got a rear and a front main leak. So.
Front and rear, nice.
I know you guys can't believe that, right? But
no,
you know, the cool thing though about that leak is that it's a leak such that it doesn't nothing drips on my floor. It's just like it's only when the motor's active, I believe. So I think that it's just leaked for so long that it's just like kind of caked on there. And when it leaks, it's just when it's moving and it kind of flows back. Because like there's nothing on my floor. Like it doesn't drip a drop of anything on the floor.
But the floorboards are fucking nice and lubricated.
Oh yeah, exactly. So but that you're right, and that is something that definitely I want to do. So, and I got to put AC back in the car. That was another kind of you know, stipulation with buying the car, was that, you know, I would put the AC back in it, especially if she's going to drive it. Like, oh, and the hood, like it had a big 4-inch cowl hood on it. And I was like, she goes, I can't even see over it in the passenger seat. She's like, I don't want to fucking drive this car. So I ended up buying a stock hood. And it's
actually, if she's losing 25 horsepower, she gets rid of that hood.
Yeah.
Easily.
So yeah, it's fun. It's cool. Again, like I said, I think it kind of breathed some new life into me. And you know, with all the trouble with the car that I was having, you know, before, and not really having any direction or anything going on with it, it kind of, you know, led to some depression. And so like getting that car, the notchback kind of, you know, relit that fire and that passion. And then I was like, okay, well, if I have to wait for the blue car, like I'm okay with that now, because I can drive this, you know. I put more miles on a notchback this summer than that car's had in more than 25 years.
Right.
So it was kind of fun, just kind of, you know, just knocking the cobwebs out of that thing.
Yeah. I think that's something that a lot of people kind of miss in this sort of hobby, is like, you know, if you're sitting at home watching the YouTube videos or whatever social media feed and watching people work on stuff, and you know, you got a car that's sat in your garage for years and years on end, and you think, fuck, you know, like I just don't have any money to like get this thing going, so shit, maybe I'll just let it sit longer or whatever. It's like, don't underestimate the power of a $200 Felpro gasket kit. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like, and now be forewarned, right? If you're going to open this can of worms, it's going to be a little more than 200, because there's going to be a sensor that's fucked and you're going to break bolts and shit's going to happen. But I mean, it's not the end of the world either though, right? Like, let's say for a couple grand, you know, and some blood, sweat, and tears, clean the block up, splash some paint on it while the motor's out, wipe down your engine bay. Yeah. Hell, maybe even give that a quick little dusting, right? Yep. And now all of a sudden, to your point about like reinvigorating yourself, you're like, no shit, right? One, I did that. That's a huge check mark in life, right? You're going to have a whole nother jump in your step when you're walking to work on Monday. And two, it's like, fuck, now let's get out and enjoy this thing again, right? Yeah. Like, it doesn't take much. And like you started out with that coupe, Tom, it's like, shit, let's get into the interior a little bit here, right? Maybe let's throw a deck in it, and let's like just these little, maybe couple $100 weekends, right? Mm-hmm. And sure, maybe you didn't get enough sleep that weekend because you're like, where the fuck's the sound? There's no sound in the speakers. What's going on here? But that all plays into this too. Like, that's all part of the formula, right? And hell, if that car's sitting in your garage on rollers, tucked into the corner, there's a reason you haven't gotten rid of it. So like, just get out there and get after it. Do something, you know?
Yeah.
Just sit there with it, fucking having a beer, looking at it, and guaranteed something will pop in your mind like, oh shit, right, that marker light was loose. I'm just going to tighten that nut real quick, right?
Yeah.
And, oh shit, how about this? And next thing you know, you're all in.
Whole car's
You know?
torn apart.
Yeah, there's that too.
If they're easy to take apart, it's putting them back together.
Yeah.
Yeah, where was that bolt? But yeah, man, like just like the sense of accomplishment that you would get from tearing down other than the upper and lower intake, a bone stock motor, and you don't even tear it down, right? Like obviously the rotating assembly is going to stay in there and everything, but regasket it, throw some black paint on her, or maybe you want to get a little wild and color it up, whatever, and reseal it. And fuck, even if it leaks after all that, you're still going to be left with that sense of accomplishment,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, it's funny when I got that car, there was a few nights where and I don't know if this is just my my brain, or something else causes to happen, but I had a few nights where I woke up in the in the middle of the night, and it's like, you know what, I can't sleep. And I just watched one of Chris's videos where he was like, cleaning up all the he was painting, like, I think all the trim and all this stuff, and I'm like, you know what, I've got the right sandpaper, I've got I've got the paint, I've got all this stuff, and so I'm like, fuck it. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm in the garage, and I'm like, I'm sanding the fucking trim, and I pop open the garage, and I'm like trying to quietly like shake the paint can, and I'm spraying this shit. I mean, there was a few nights where I was getting this stuff done. Like I couldn't sleep, or like you're saying with the radio, I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, oh, maybe what about this? I'm gonna run down and try this. And it's like, fuck, that didn't work, and well, I'm here, I'm gonna do this, so yeah, there was a couple nights where I was in the garage and happily working on the car at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. It's just my brain wouldn't shut off, and I'm like, I'll just go work on the car. It was fun, again, the sense of accomplishment, to get that stuff done.
There is, man. I remember actually with my green car, before we moved where we are right now, I had it all tore down, and this whole idea of moving out this way happened. And anyway, then there was a bit of a timeline or a time crunch that had to happen, and have it rolling and at least be able to put it on a trailer. I ended up getting it fully done and driving it out here. But I remember like going to bed at 2 a.m. and being back on it at like 5:36 a.m. Like if you're listening to this and you've never experienced like that level of existence where like you're so ultra focused on something that 3 hours is good worth of sleep, you really should try it. Like, in all honesty, because like it's all to sit here and even listen to myself say that right now, I kind of think like, fuck, like that's a little crazy to think about, but it's totally true. Like, dude, like when you woke up at 2 a.m, it wasn't like, oh, what am I going to do? You're just like, boom, on.
Yeah.
Right. Like coffee's on, you're rocking and rolling. You're in,
Yeah.
And that's a good feeling, like that'll invigorate you. And I mean, and we've talked about kind of the way the world is here recently on the last few pods. And I think a lot of people are just kind of sitting around in kind of the muck, you know what I mean? Just like, meh. It's like, fucking just go down and pull a wrench on your car, like just do something to get out of all this noisy shit.
Right.
And work on a simple old Foxbody,
Yeah. And again, even though it was unsuccessful, that Saturday that I spent in the garage with Dwayne, cutting the springs, like it's an experience, that we shared together because of this car. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it didn't work out, but it's still, I'm glad that we, had that experience, again, fucking around with this car. So,
Dude, no good story has ever started with, so I'm sitting there having a salad. Okay? Ever. In the history of the fucking universe, no
Yeah.
good story has ever, at least not with the people I want to hang out with. So, to your point about like bucking off springs with you and Dwayne, like, fuck yeah. Like, even if the car did turn itself into a fucking Mayday float on the way to a car show, who cares? Like, all of this makes for a good story. And it sure as hell didn't start with I'm sitting there having a salad.
Right. Yep. Very
Like,
true. Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Life's short. You know what I mean? Like, have fun. And with a car like that you're not into up to your eyeballs in, like, why not? Right?
Yeah.
And you limped it home. You're not calling the flat deck to bring this thing home. It's just like, whatever. Well, and actually, this reminds me, I was going to say this earlier and it kind of slipped my mind, but Chris and I talked a ton about this when we worked on the shit box.
Yeah.
And just how freeing it was to like work on something that you cared about, but you didn't at the same time. It was this kind of weird dichotomy of we're in, but whatever.
Hammer on everything when it did.
Oh,
you can put your beer on it without a coaster.
Yeah.
Oh, the amount of beer that was spilt down that cowl, dude.
Oh,
I mean, it was the type of car that you didn't want to use your good hammer on, right? Like, you go get a shittier hammer. But like how just freeing that was, and I don't know, it definitely, it reinvigorates something within you,
Mhm.
and I think the coupe kind of does that for you, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of like, and I mean, if you're dealing with even a decent stock car, right, with maybe like mediocre paint, it's like if you decide that you're going to pull that motor and you're going to just regasket it, right, be as cheap and down and dirty as possible, there's pretty much no point in that motor R&R that you're going to run into that you can't get yourself out of. Like, there's textbooks on this. You know what I mean? Ford printed them and they're easily accessible. Or fuck, you can still find this in the guts of most forums, like, what's the torque spec on X? You're going to find all this shit, if you're just resourceful and you go looking. So you can't get yourself into too much trouble, right? Which is sort of like the angle I'm trying to sell this at versus like the Cookie Monster. You can get yourself into the trouble fucking around pulling that thing apart now. You know what I mean? Like, this thing's a sophisticated piece of machinery.
Right.
Stock 5.0, come on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Minor.
Yeah. I got a like quick funny story about the notchback too, because you're talking about like pulling the motor and resealing it and stuff like that. So I almost unintentionally had to do that anyway, because this is like right towards the end of the season, and I was driving the car around, and there's this stretch of road nearby that you can kind of open it up if you wanted to, right? And I'm like, I turn and I'm just about to shift in the second. I'm like, you know what? I've never opened this car up yet. Like, still, I've had this car a couple months. I've never really laid into it. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. So I went hammer down and I went to shift gears, and this thing just started bouncing off the rev limiter. I'm like, what the fuck? So I let the clutch out and the car kind of lurched forward and just kept going. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this car? I put the clutch in again, boom, 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 starts bouncing, and put the clutch in and I shut it off to give myself, some time to think. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this car? So I'm like, okay, I'm going like 50 miles an hour. I put the clutch in again. I start it up, and immediately it just starts shut it off again. I'm like, fuck, I think the throttle blade is stuck or something. The linkage, something is wrong. So, limped the car over and got out, took a look, and the link, everything's fine. Like everything's fine. I'm like, what? Now I'm in trouble. Like, what's going on? I'm gonna have to phone a friend here in a second. And I go back and I open the door, and as I'm looking inside the car, like it just immediately it was like right in my face. The floor mat.
Oh no.
The fucking floor. I've never in my life had this ever happen before, but the floor mat snuck underneath, just enough so that when I put that pedal down, it just was touching the bottom, and that was enough to just like, I don't know, if just to let other people know if that ever happens to you, and if you're fortunate enough to have a manual, you can just shut the fucking car off, put it in neutral and shut the car off.
Shut her down. Yeah.
But that scared the shit out of me. I'm like, fuck. Now I got 2 broken cars. I'm like, my wife's gonna kill me.
Gonna need a third. Shit.
Oh my gosh. But
so once you figured that out, did you give it the gears again? Like with the
I was a little trigger shy.
Right.
But with the car being stock, it's like, it'll spin the tires and it'll kind of sound cool, but it's not really fast. So it kind of, I lost the, I guess the ambition after that experience. That day, no, I did not. That day I went home, my ass puckered still, because I was just like, I'm worrying, like, is it making a sound? Like, is that valve like, what the fuck did I break? It's like, what did I do to this car now? I'm like, I'm never gonna hear the end of it. And my wife can read me like a book, like when I made the decision that I really wanted to buy the car, I was like thinking for a few days, like, how am I going to bring this up? Like, I'm going to have to sneak this in somewhere. And finally one day we're at dinner and I'm just like, I guess it was on my face. And she's like, what? She's like, you've been thinking about something for a couple days now. What? Just tell me. And I'm like, fuck, am I that like transparent? Like, is that easy? And, fortunately I've got a very cool wife and she was on board from the beginning and supports all this stupid shit that I do with these cars. So,
dude, okay. So I can't help but think the poor gal was probably bringing it up, like totally panicking, thinking like, I wonder if he's found another gal. She's like, because we probably have the exact, like, we as guys, we have that same level of like, fuck,
right?
Is this the right plan for me? Like, is this what I should do? And
it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that meme where the husband and wife are in bed, and like the wife's like sitting there, like his face, like looking at him, and he's sitting there like this, and it's like, plastic dinosaurs are real dinosaurs, and he goes through like the whole process of how that happened, and she's like, he's probably thinking about another girl.
It's true. Hey, while we're on the topic of Wise Boys, I seen a joke today that I've never heard before in my life, and I'm one of those guys like love a good joke. So, and this came to me in like video format. Somebody had done it up like a reel or whatever. Maybe it's even a part of an old movie for all I know. If it is, I haven't seen it. But there's this doctor in the doctor's office, and they kind of, it almost seems like he might be mixing a drink, right? So he's kind of a shoddy doctor to begin with anyway. And he's talking on the phone, and the guy that calls him, he says, "Hey doc, did you get my results in for my wife or whatever?" Yeah, we got them right here, but they're a little weird. He says, "We're not sure if she's got Alzheimer's or AIDS." The guy says, "Jesus Christ, like, well, what do you suggest I do?" He goes, "Take her out for a drive, drop her off about 3 miles from the house. If she makes it back to the house, don't fuck her." Oh, fuck that. Watched it like 6 times. I was just in tears. Like, I didn't know where this was going the whole way through, but fuck, is that a beauty.
Alzheimer's or AIDS. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Our
gosh.
gals put up with a lot, boys, and thank
Oh,
goodness
yeah.
they do, you know.
Yeah.
So buddy, I know you're saying that you guys had some lofty goals for the Cookie Monster out of the gate, and then you've sort of reset, and now it's just kind of like it'll happen when it happens. But where are you thinking the stretch goal is? Where are people going to get to see the Cookie Monster?
So the goal right now, well, there's two right now, actually, one right after another. The we have a local, actually, I think it's a national show, but locally, World of Wheels is local to me, and that's like a just all car. Actually, it's all, I mean, it's cars, bikes, all that tricked out kind of stuff. So one of the guys from the Streetcar Shenanigans group, this guy Bob, he's actually the current stick shift title holder for shit. What is that? Why is my brain failing me right now?
Certain tire size or something?
Sick Week and Sick Summer.
Okay.
So anyway, Bob kind of reached out to me, and he wanted to have like a car club, entry for this show. So I think we ended up getting about 10 cars, so 10 guys who've had their cars built by Streetcar Shenanigans, and including, like Nick and Dan, their cars. So that's in the first week of March. That show it's like a 3-day show or something like that. And then immediately after that is pits. So
Right.
the goal is to get the pits. Now this might sound strange to some people, but you guys will understand, like, especially because where I live, with all the salt and uncertainty with the weather, there's a good chance that my car is going to go to pits and not be fully road tested and tuned. So it'll almost be like a working weekend, right? Because because we're going to have to drive the car, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that I haven't made any reservations yet. We're still trying to figure out like what days, but I think for sure be there Thursday through Saturday. I'm trying to kind of get the Wednesday through Saturday, because some of the cooler places, like, they require a 4-day stay. Actually, like right where I think where you're staying, that's where we're trying to get a place. So anyway, yeah. So those are the goals. Like the first one is World of Wheels in Chicago, and then like I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks later is going to be pits. So we're planning on bringing the car out there.
I completely feel that predicament, buddy. Now I'm definitely not in as deep as you are going into a hypothetically non-road tested reveal, if you will. But yeah, I fucking loaded my car in the snow. Like, backed my trailer into the shop in such a way that I could get the door on the concrete and rolled her in, So yeah, I feel that. And went through the bullshit. Chris lived it with me. Fucking all kinds of hiccups and dicking around and whatever else. But back to our earlier points, like, this is the stuff that makes things memorable. Now, you're at a different level than the memories that I was creating. Like, you kind of want the streetcar guys there with you, like, hey boys, jump in the back seat. We're going on a road trip here, because if this thing fucks up, I need you there.
Yep.
But yeah, that'd be super cool, dude, if you could put that together. And I mean, barring, I know there's always unforeseen things, but like, quite literally, you guys are 95% of the way there after first fire, and there's tuning and stuff, but after that it's just beautification, really.
Right. Yeah, there's going to be some cool stuff, again with the car. With the Dominator, you've got a lot more control. So I don't think any of that stuff needs to be in place, like for me to get it out the pits. It just needs to run and drive and not blow up. But
Yep.
I'm not worried about that. I think, as far as drivability, it's just like, when you've got a new tune, you might have a little bit of hiccups. You might get with either idle issues or with, some bucking or, that kind of stuff. That's easy. That's easy peasy. That's all I'm worried about, and hot and cold starts and stuff like that. But you are right though. Like that was kind of the conversation I had. I'm like, hey, Nick, this is what I was thinking. And I said, I don't feel comfortable like bringing my car, like, it's it's going to be completely not road tested at all. And I'm like, I don't have a truck and trailer. And I'm like, it's kind of like when you're asking out a girl for the first time, and you're just like kind of like, oh, so hey, you're so what do you think, want to go out or what? It's just kind of like kind of how I went about it.
Yeah.
And,
are you into all this crazy shit? No, me neither. Yeah, I don't know why I've said that. Right? Of course not.
So that's kind of the way I presented the idea of going to pits, and he was super excited about it. Wants to bring his car. I don't know. I don't think that there is, but this one of the motivating factors that he was kind of hoping for was to do some racing. But he's not gonna put his car out there for grins and giggles. Like he wants to race for some cash.
Oh yeah.
When you're racing at that level, like you're not gonna risk crashing your car or blowing something up for just street cred, right? So I don't think that they do that there. I know that they have that king of the road thing, but you got to be there the first day to
I don't even know anything about this, buddy.
Oh, so yeah, they got
Is
this
it like a Tail of the Dragon thing or something?
There's a king of the road competition, and you got to be there the first day because they like do an inspection, which is kind of the reverse of what you would think it would be like. You would think if you're going to have to drag race your car, they would be doing like safety inspection, but they actually don't want like completely clapped out like drag cars. No cage. They don't want, you have to have factory seats or, like factory era seats. You have to have factory seat, like that kind of stuff. Which kind of surprised me because some of these cars can be pretty damn fast. But anyway, you have to be there the first day. And then starting Wednesday, they have these little competitions. Like, one of them might be like a road course or something. I think that they have. Then they have like a dyno competition that you have to do. And then you have to have like street tires. They won't do it obviously with, drag radials and stuff like that. And then they have on Thursday, for like 2 hours, they have like drag racing at the track, and all of these things, you're like accumulating points. And then at the end of the show, then they accumulate all that. And then you would win this king of the road competition. So, again, like Nick was kind of thinking like, oh, it'd be cool to go out there and do some serious racing and win some money. But I don't think that they do that. The king of the road, like, I think there is a little bit of money involved, but it's only for first place. And then second and third are just like, an award or a trophy or something like that. So not really enough into it, I think, to risk, doing some serious racing.
So is it their car, that black GT, or one of the two guys?
Are you talking about Bob's car, the black, which?
Yeah, the one like the high rev and Coyote.
Oh, that one. That's no. So that car, the Coyote car, is that's a customer's car. You're talking about Loch Ness,
right? Yeah, Loch Ness. Yeah.
Loch Ness is a customer car.
Okay.
So Nick has a 90, I believe it's a 94 or 95 Cobra, and that's just like that's a 363, just like it's a fast car. You know,
Right.
it's a low 9-second stick shift car.
Wow.
So yeah, it might even be a little faster. I can't confirm or deny. But
Right.
he's got some cool shit going on with that car, and it's a very, very fast stick shift car. I have so much respect. Like, look, anybody in any car that does 9 seconds or lower, lower times, like I have a huge amount of respect. But when it comes to guys that can do that with stick shift,
Yeah.
that takes a lot of skill to do that, and a lot of balls, So
Big time. Okay. That's Nick. And then the other fella, shit, I've draw a blank on his name too.
So Nick, Dan is the other co-owner over there. Dan has like a 03 or an 04 Cobra. I don't know to the extent of what he's got going on with that car. I remember having a conversation with him about, hey, in Illinois anyway, the cars up to, I think, 95. I think it's up to 95. There's no EPA emissions testing. 96 with the newer computers and stuff like that, they all have to go through testing. But you can get exemptions, and it's gotten a little bit more difficult, but it's still not too hard to do. So I think that was one of the things holding him back from doing like some serious, modifications on that car. But he's got a really nice. I don't know if it's 03 or 04, but it's a Terminator. He's got a nice Terminator car.
Oh yeah.
So
very cool. Huh. So they may join you on the journey.
Well, yeah. So from my understanding right now is that for sure they will both come, and they will at least bring Nick's car, so that his Cobra. Yeah, and we still have some time, so we might try and grab a couple other guys, like this guy Bob, But sick week is, I believe, in February. Okay. So I don't know if that's going to work out, with his schedule, because that's an entire week of racing.
So they must not do that in Illinois then, because like February, you're still dealing with shit.
Oh yeah, no. I think the last time it was in Florida. So yeah, no, it's definitely not here. Now Sick Summer is six. Well, it's not just Illinois. I think it was actually because the way that these work is they go to multiple tracks, and you have to drive your car. You have to check in. Your car has to be operating. You have to show up to the track and has to leave the track, and so you just have to make it to the checkpoints. And your car has to be there running, not on a trailer. But I think that Sick Summer is like a combination of like Illinois and Wisconsin, the tracks all around. So they kind of shift between the tracks. As far as Sick Week, the Sick Week one, I don't know if it was all in Florida or if it was like multiple states as well. I think it was, though. I think it was multiple states.
Right.
Multiple tracks.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So
yeah, get the boys out of the north and out of the snow, and
yeah.
So okay, and then who is? I'm guessing that Dwayne Chicano Fox is going to come with you.
Yep. Dwayne is planning on coming and bringing his car, and again, it's a new experience. I've never been to the show, period. So experiencing the show with my car is going to be really exciting. Yeah. And of course, seeing all the guys, like, you only get to see at these shows, people who come from all over not just the country, but, from, again, Canada too, So,
yeah, I've heard, speaking with some various folks, that like you can't even get yourself just a regular spot. Like it's sold out.
It's completely sold out.
Yeah. And like it has been for a little while now.
I was taken aback when I heard that, because it's been about maybe 3 weeks or so since we've kind of been playing around with this idea, and Dwayne's like, holy shit, it's sold out. I'm like, no way. Yeah. I'm like, I was just on their website. It's not sold out. And then I go and I start digging. I'm like, holy shit, it is sold out. Like,
Yeah.
how great of a show must this be that, it's sold out this far in advance?
Yeah.
So yeah, now, again, now we're kind of looking, and it's like we want to find a place that either has a garage with a decent sized driveway, or just has a really big driveway, because we're going to have X amount of
Trucks and
cars.
trailers.
And you got the trucks, right? The trailers, I think they have trailer parking there that you can
They
pay
do.
for at the fairgrounds. So we'll park the trailers there, but we're still gonna have the trucks, and then we're gonna have the cars.
Yeah.
So all these houses are like built on fucking stilts,
Yeah.
into the mountains and stuff like that. So you're really limited on parking and stuff out there. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but we'll figure it out. We'll find a place, but yeah, right now it's just kind of making sure that I know what days, so we can schedule something out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have any context as far as, like, I've never been to Mustang Week, which I would probably say is a fair parallel to
Mhm.
something like Pitts, right? Because you're dealing with any and all generations of Mustangs. But yeah, like from my last year's experience, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of cars around, and it's done in well, I think what was neat about it for me is growing up in British Columbia in the mountains and everything else, you kind of get that same effect of, it almost felt like home, but it still got the American flair to it that I yearn for,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, it was like most first years are. Your first year, buddy, will probably be the same way. It's blurry, right? Because it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, I'm in, let's do it, fuck whatever. And anyway, just like me last year, that'll be you this year, where you're fiddle fucking around trying to fix things on the side, and your car's fighting you and whatever. Maybe hopefully you won't be there. But anyway, I was. So throwing all that into the mix. But still, like, taking away some glimpses of just that very first time experience. I mean, we all buzzed down to the Hard Rock Cafe the one night, and it's just like, it's like one of those like non-speaking YouTube videos where it's just like cars leaving and coming, and like the guy's just filming that. It's that
Yeah.
all night, you know?
Yeah.
Just pure pandemonium. I mean, you felt like a fucking celebrity pulling in, because it's just like 6 to 10 people deep, both sides of the road, as far as you can see, the whole fucking parking lot.
Yeah.
Everybody watching you pull in.
Mhm.
Very, very cool experience,
Yeah.
all these shows have that little thing
Yeah.
about them, and yeah, this is just a really neat set and setting
Yeah.
for a show.
Yeah, I told Dwayne it's probably going to be like this particular show, and this time is going to be like we're testing the waters, because he was thinking of like bringing his family and doing, like, also making it like a vacation. And I'm like,
Yep.
you know what? We're going to go there, and we're just not going to know like anything, where to go, what to do. So this particular experience, we're going to go there and we're going to figure it all out, so that next year, or the next time that we go, like, we can actually make it a longer time, and we can actually know what to do when we're out there, because we're
Yeah.
going to be like, a country boy in the city, right? Like, we're not
Yep.
going to know, or actually maybe vice versa for us guys, but city boys in the country. But other than our friends that are there, like, we're not going to know what to do, where to go, and what happens out there at what times and whatever. So we'll get that all figured out, I think, this time. And again, for me, I'm going to have enough stress with the car, just making sure everything is good. But having Nick and Dan out there, like, I'm not even remotely worried that anything would happen that they couldn't figure out or fix. So
Yeah. Shit, War Admiral was struggling with alternator issues last year. I mean,
Yeah.
that all got ironed out. Like, it was just whatever. And the community and like the group of buds that everybody's got, it's like, fuck, anything, anywhere. You can overnight it too. I think, didn't Tom overnight his damn alternator?
Yeah,
think-
yeah,
I
you
think he
did.
might have.
Shit,
Yeah.
I changed the fuel pump in the fucking O'Reilly's parking lot on my way there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you can, you'll be just fine.
I think actually Dwayne watched that video when we were talking about this trip, and he goes, yeah, hey Tom, because we're trying to find a place to stay, and he's like, I watched Infamous, and just so you guys know, like, I mean, a lot of us, me and Dwayne in particular, but we might not always comment, but we're always watching, your
Right.
videos and stuff like that. Like we follow you guys, right? But anyway, he says, yeah, I was watching Chris's video, and he's like, and when he got, to where they were staying, he's like, I paused it and I was able to see like the name of the place where they're at. Because like Airbnb and shit like that, like they won't tell you the address unless you book with them, right?
Yeah.
So
Not
he's
until like 24 hours before you stay with them. It's
right.
like, I got to know where I'm going.
You have no idea where you're going. So,
Yeah.
and again, like I'm looking for a place so I can see the driveway and the garage, and they don't always show that. And it was just kind of funny that, again, another one of Chris's videos that help us out, one way or another.
Doing the recon. That's awesome. So do you think what are you going to do, buddy? Are you going to do an enclosed trailer, or what are you thinking?
No, I don't think, because, if Nick is bringing his car, he has, I don't know if he owns it or if he just has access to like a dual car hauler. And he told me, he says, look, it's not going to be enclosed. And yes, we have shitty weather out here, but the more I thought about it, like I know plenty of people, Mario being one of those people, who have gone to this show and do not have enclosed trailers. Like they all figure it out. I'm not worried about like rain or even like snow or whatever. Like what everybody fears is the salt. That's the one thing. And if you've got like a storm going and, they're out salting and, that stuff will kick up. And so that, hey, then we make a decision at that point. Like if that's what the weather is and that's, then we got to figure, we were going to do this or not. But
Yeah.
I'd rather kind of, make the plans to go than to just be, too scared right now and just say I'm not going to go because I'm afraid of what might be. Let's just we'll get it all planned and we'll take it as it comes.
It's true, buddy. I mean, I actually one spring had this on an open trailer. Granted, it had, let's say, 3 feet of like checker plate block in the front, but I mean, you know what it's like when you're driving through like heavy wet shit. I mean, it's just a cyclone of awfulness, right? And I remember driving through that going like, oh my God, I'm really dreading like the end of this trip to see how bad this is, right? And truthfully, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It's not like driving it in the shit.
Correct. Yeah.
You know? So if that makes you rest a little easier for the next few months. But yeah, man, that'd be awesome if you guys could get her down there and bring it out to pits. It was like we had really wicked weather too. Again, this is from my perspective, and Tom, I mean, you're far enough north you can appreciate this. Like it's that time of year where you're still getting crisp mornings but nice days.
Yep.
And the set and setting is just like can't beat it.
Yeah.
Beautiful mountains and you're in the trees and shit. Well, I mean, if you guys end up like where we were last year, just driving into that little area is amazing. Like it's like a paved fucking wagon road, just up and down and around and in and out, and it's a hoot.
Are you guys what are your plans for next year? Are you guys are you going to pits, or what shows are you guys planning on doing next year?
Yeah, pits is
hoping my Cobra's ready for it.
Your 101?
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of fucking big big bites to
I can't. It's like there's nothing I can say to Chris that's going to impress him. It's like talking to Elon Musk about like rockets. Like I when he's chopping the roof off of, and making a T-top car out of a, like
4 months before he wants to debut it.
Yeah. But how's that all coming along, Chris?
Pretty good. I want to say most of it's all primer now.
Okay.
So it should be back from paint, I would say right around in between Christmas and New Year's.
Okay.
So that'll all be taken care of. And of course, simultaneously, my next batch of Godzillas, they're supposed to arrive last Tuesday. They'll be here on Tuesday. So one of those motors are for it. I've already got the transmission. I think a lot of people some people have alluded, because nobody really knows what I'm doing with the strut towers being cut out. But we'll just say that there's a very large one size fits all Fox units going underneath it, which should be pretty interesting. So hence the I don't care that it's T-top because
of that.
Because of that.
I got you.
And I think that would overcome any objections about the car previously being hit, structural integrity, blah blah blah. So and to be honest, that was the only real way, I think, to give that car I don't know, any real unique value was to like just do the extreme with it, because like fixing that car back to stock is financial suicide. Like
Sure.
that's horrible idea. But and not to say that the path I'm going isn't either, but at least it's an opportunity to do something that everybody wants to do but feels like they can't. Like, who wants to chop up a 93 Cobra?
Yeah, exactly.
At least this day and age, right? So
yeah.
It should have quite a bit of uniqueness to it in many ways, and of course my own flair that will definitely personalize or individualize it. Awesome. Very tip. Yeah.
Okay.
So just fingers crossed I can do it.
Yeah. Just not $400,000, right?
No, if somebody wants to pre-order, I'll settle at $250 right now. I'll give them a deal of a lifetime.
I would take that over that black notch. So I know that's kind of like beating a dead horse, but just listening to a lot of the conversations that people are having and discussions and stuff like that, it's just like I'm not knocking the creativity or any of that stuff, like, but it's just like I've listened to the pod with Bill, and Bill Butler, and like it's like, yeah, it's a nice looking car, but it's really, we all know plenty of guys that have way less into their cars, and they're, in my opinion, nicer builds. So I'm happy though that there's kind of spotlight maybe being put on the Foxbody cars for people who are not really into the community like we are. So I'm happy for that. And hey, if somebody wants to spend 200 and change for a Foxbody, good luck. Good for them. But yeah, I think your build will be definitely much more unique and much more interesting. That's just my opinion. So,
which is kind of what you want when you're spending like a healthy amount of cash on something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, either you've literally fallen in love with the builder's dream, and or your dream has been made by the builder. If you're going to be spending that kind of cake. I know it's kind of funny. Like, there was something else recently that just came out about it winning some sort of, I could have this wrong, but like engineering award, or there was something to that effect, right? And I dipped down into the comment section, and I mean, everybody was definitely fighting the fight from our kind of view, this corner of the beach ball, right? We're looking at it from one color, everyone else looking at it from the other. And it's just like, yeah, they're echoing what we've said, right? And what you just said, Tom. It's just like, like, where's the value,
Yeah.
And if it's not to say that if you weren't going to build a production car for a reasonable amount of money that got you into that sort of production car territory price wise, okay, great, beautiful black coupe, nice set of wheels, whatever. It's just like you're in premium territory here. Like this is, boutique level. This has, my tastes within it. It's not just a car off the lot kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe it comes with a 10-year unlimited mile warranty.
I highly doubt it.
I highly doubt that one. And look, I couldn't, if you asked me to, like, hey, I need you to, why don't you reimagine this car? How would you wrestle out this car? Like, I don't know if I could do any better, right? Like, but just by looking at it, and especially without looking underneath the car, just by looking at it, it's just like, I a few custom things on the interior, but nothing else I saw is anything I haven't seen done already.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, supercharged Coyote, and, again, like some of the kind of unique stuff on the interior, which I don't know. I hope I don't get myself in trouble for saying this, but me personally, I do not like the interior. I
Right.
don't like the seats. To me, it looks like, I'm not even saying, I'm not trying to bash the car. It's just like, I did not like, everybody was flipping out about the interior. And I'm like, you really? Like, it did nothing for me. The interior, the seats and stuff did nothing for me. So, but again,
it's so funny you bring that up, because the seats were something that I was kind of like, what are we doing here? And the console was really odd for me too, right? Kind of being molded in and everything. But the seats, I think, is worth like exploring a little bit, because if you think about a production level seat in, say, a brand new GT off the lot, sure, they're gonna, they got a bit of a Recaro flair to them or whatever, right? And bolstering and this and that, but it's a very like subtle pattern, or
right.
it's not even a pattern. You know what I mean? They're just kind of black with maybe a bit of a weird weave to them. But this was like a heavy kind of crochet looking doily thing, right? And
Yeah.
you're like, we're into extreme territory here, and I don't know why we're doing that.
Right.
Like, put the fucking motorsport seats in them that Ford never made or talked about making, and you know what I mean? Like, put those Recaros in it.
Yeah. It's kind of like looking at a painting, if you're, I don't know, if you're just not really an artist and you just don't understand it. Like, that's, maybe they had a different vision. And again, it could just be that I am stuck in the 80s and I just can't let it go that, it should have like these stupid stock, GT bucket seats or something like that, or, halo headrests, or, something like that's really, retro. But it's not so much the seat. It's just like you're saying, the pattern on the seat, or, it didn't do anything for me. And yeah, like, everybody's like complimenting the steering wheel. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's kind of custom, but it's still just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just didn't really do much for me, especially with the price tag. Now, I never drove the car, so maybe you drive the car and it just blows your pants off or something like that. But, to me, it just, like we're saying, if the car was at a show and you in a row of 900 cars at Foxtoberfest, would you ever even think to like just stop and just like drool over this car? Nope. It's got a nice set of wheels on it. It's a black coupe, and it's got a supercharged Coyote. Cool.
Yep.
There's one over there too. There's another one over there.
It's just gonna blend.
Without knowing about the chassis and stuff like that, like it just would just be another one. So, and again, like I really want to stress that I'm not picking on the car. I'm sure it's a really great car and stuff like that. And some people might really love it. Just wasn't for me. It just didn't really like touch me the way it did maybe some other people.
Yeah. Yeah. There has been a few people, some of which I've spoke with, that like it touched them in the way that I think Velocity probably hoped it would touch people. But I mean, shit, if you're talking statistically speaking here, like they would maybe be not even 5% of, you know, the folks that I've either spoke with personally or, you know, just oversaw what they were speaking about in the comment section. So yeah, I think there was an overwhelming amount of just like, what?
Yeah.
Really? You know?
Yeah.
But then like that kind of leads to, I guess, I don't know, maybe even like more weirdness too, because with it winning, I wish I could remember the award that I just saw this post based off of the other day, but with it winning this award, you know, there's one part of me that's like, okay, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like these silly old cars that we even make fun of ourselves for loving as much as we do are getting this recognition.
Yep.
For sure. I'm not going to take that away from it at all. But it's like, why is that car winning an award? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Why isn't fucking Ken's car winning an award,
Yeah.
or fucking Mario's car, or
Exactly.
fucking Tom's car? Like, what? Your car? Like, why? You know what I mean? It's like these things, if you spend, and this is always my big thing on this. People are probably getting tired of hearing me say this, but it's like the biggest gripe I have about the shows is I don't get enough time around each one of these things, because, you know, I want to take a knee. I'd love to pack around a creeper
Yeah.
and roll around with the guy and be like, fucking, what's the, why'd you do this? And what, like, that's the shit I love. And I mean, sure, you could probably spend a few hours around this car, especially appreciating the whole chassis component of it. But aside from that, like, I think what we saw in the video is probably all you know what I mean? Like, what else is there to see?
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. You know, and I'm sure, you know, people will, you know, look at my car when it's done and be like, you know, big deal. You know what I mean?
As long as the hood's down.
Right back at me, right? Like, you know, so again, like I just really want to stress, like I love anything Foxbody, and you know, just for me, like it just didn't really do anything for me that, like you're saying, like if, you know, if you throw Ken or Mario or Tom or any of those guys throw their notchbacks up against, you know, in a you know, lineup with that car, like, are people going to pick
right
that
by
car?
that one?
Yeah, I think they would be looking at the uniqueness, you know, of the other cars versus that one. So
Yeah.
Dude, like, let's not forget what makes these like one of the components of these cars that's so special is the unique nature of them being a jobber style car, right? In their day, cheap to obtain, relatively easy to work on, somewhat easy to make power and make go fast. And, you know, they were kind of like the little car that could, right? But then, you know, the thing that is cross-threaded the heaviest for me on this whole thing is just the price doesn't match the product. You know, now I should maybe preface that and say, because we kind of ran through loose math, right? Like, from that level, yes, I get it. But like beyond that, I'm just going like, I don't know, not a snowball's chance in hell am I lining up with a $280,000 check
right.
for a black coupe. I don't care how fancy that fucking chassis is. I really don't.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I mean, so look at because like I would say a good comparable to that car, especially if you wanted to maybe make the argument that it was like production level in 2025 or whatever. Like, look at that Calypso coupe that Cletus, I think maybe they've auctioned it off by now, but and I forget the name of the outfit that he teamed up with on that one or whatever. But anyway,
it was Motion, yeah, right. Had the TBM
Motion.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, beautiful car, just an absolute fucking monster power wise, and the only thing it's missing is the chassis.
Yeah.
You know, other than that, like, and I don't know, maybe they've discussed. No, I don't think they did talk about pricing of that car, right?
Probably not.
Yeah, because it was more giveaway related, but I would say that's a really good comparable, you know?
Yeah.
Shit,
Yeah.
that'd be a banger of a video, to see somebody put something together with that black coupe and that Calypso coupe. And just here's 280 and here's probably
Not 280, yeah.
1.5 question marks. And let's kind of see where we're at here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, maybe that's a good place to wrap, boys, eh?
Yeah.
Thanks, brother, for doing this, dude. We did kind of throw you the Hail Mary at the tail end of this week, going like, shit, it's Friday. Do you need a beer? It's been a little while since we chatted.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris, I want to ask real quick, how are you doing? How is your health? Are you still good? Everything all good?
yeah. It seems things like energy and all that's pretty good. To the point where I ended up actually dropping probably another 5 pounds of, eating ridiculously healthy and reducing my beer intake significantly, because I always ate healthy, but I think just being active and cutting all the carbs and shit
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to put 10 pounds back on, and then my neuropathy is slowly, like, I can actually sort of feel the texture of the cat when I pet him now a little bit,
Wow.
but like still a little bit of like my fingertips still feel a little burnt.
Yeah.
So as long as it keeps going in the direction it's going in, then that'll correct itself. And then I've got some follow-up scopes actually end of next week that'll sort of validate and make sure that everything's kind of good,
Okay.
at least for the next little while. And that'll be good. So if all that all checks out, man, then yeah, I'm hitting the ground running properly for 2026.
Awesome.
Back to getting shit faced.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Clean bill of health. Let's fuck it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, cool. So are you guys going to pits real quick? I know you want to get going, but are you guys planning on being at pits?
Yep, that's the plan.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Well, here, don't go anywhere, buddy, and we'll kind of wrap on that real quick. But
okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Anytime, guys. I love you guys. Anytime.
All right.
you.
Thanks, buddy.